Good evening, one and all. Welcome to another combined broadcast between me, Baron Orman Scrooge from Fandomology, and Mike, PACIFIC414, who's next to me.
What? Wait. I'm next to you. I,
I mean, on the
I'm not on
screen.
the other side. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Another collab.
Another
What?
collab. Can you believe it?
What's
Yes.
wrong with us?
I have no idea. We're crazy. We're insane. Another
We're,
test gone awry, you might say. But yeah, another combined broadcast between the two of us as we talk about interesting stories and fond memories. I'm sure we have stuff from the holidays, and as I'm assuming, it's not just the holidays as
no.
such. Like any fond memories or, I suppose, interesting stories. So yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah.
I suppose I got on my list here. So
I've got a few myself, but I also want to let everybody know that this is also an open panel. So if you have any interesting stories or fond memories that you would like to share with us, you're more than welcome.
the hell you say? Open. Wow, we
Yes.
we are going. We're getting wild here. This is just. What are we doing? What's
Well,
going through our mind? I tell you.
well, to quote a certain Saturday Night Live sketch, we're just two wild and
Wild,
crazy guys.
two wild and crazy guys. And just to mention here too, we have the old man in the chat as well as DJ Ronnie G. So
And
welcome to the festivities.
and also he's over in the studio on my end. There is a Phil McCracken sighting. There he
Hmm?
is. Now he's
What?
showing up. Now he's showing up on the StreamYard side. He
You
says,
must have
I
heard it
have never
talking.
seen a bunch of ugly. I hope there are no children watching this. Well, if you saw the warning disclaimer, you should know that this content is not meant for children. But do want to say hello to the old man, to DJ Ronnie G, who says, Hey, Mike and Baron Scrooge.
Yep. Wow, humbug.
And we also have Jet Sparks here.
This,
Greetings, programs.
hey, Jet Marks, how you doing?
So, Baron,
Yeah.
what sort of interesting stories and fond memories do you have, my friend?
I got a few, I guess.
Uh,
I'm not used to telling a lot of stories because, usually I'd tell these stories and people say, oh, BS, BS, BS. But, when I got about 50 years old, I said, screw it. If you don't believe me, tough. I know if they're true or not. No matter how wild the story is, when I spin a story, it's for real and they can be really weird. And actually, I was talking to my therapist the other day. Yes, I'm going to a therapist. Oh, and hello, long suffering Mrs. Tagge. How you doing, my sweet? Love you. There.
Nice to
How
have
about you?
her here. I hope she's doing better.
You too. Oh, Phil's looking for the link.
Phil, I just posted the link. I
Mm-hmm.
pinned it. Unfortunately, I can't pin it in Baron's chat as well. I can only do it in one chat.
Well, I got it in my chat too, so
Yeah.
maybe I should have pinned it though. I don't know if I do a pinning here. Pin message. There we go. It's pinned.
There we go. There.
Yay!
We'll get the kinks worked out one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the
Mm-hmm.
second show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the missus is still in hospital, sadly. But the good news is she does not need to have surgery on that leg, so we're happy about that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories out there, and they can sometimes get a little wild. Um, I was talking to my therapist, and the therapist brought up, about it can't get worse, and I said, well, I know he's a dirty word now, but Bill Cosby, but he had a great sketch, and that was about never say it can get worse because there is an entity out there. It's called worse. And he does not like his name taken in vain. So if you sit back and utter that out, worse hears you and goes, oh, I can make it that. Um, the follow through on that is never ask for anything interesting to happen.
Oh
And
yeah.
I, back about 88 or so, I was working at a gas station with, the friend was the manager. And we just hired on this new guy. He's basically training him, almost like the first day. Big guy by the name of Dayton or Dylan. I can't remember one of the two. Might have been Dayton. And here we are. It's a Friday of all days in the summertime, and normally you get a lot of traffic coming through. Well, boats, whatever. Well, we weren't getting any of that. We're just all kind of standing around admiring how ugly we were. And I uttered that phrase. I wish something interesting would happen. No more than 5 minutes later, some guy comes in and he goes, "Oh, I need to have the key to the bathroom." Okay, here you go. Goes around back. No problem. We start picking up just a little bit. Half hour later, some lady comes in with her daughter and goes, "We need to use the bathroom." It's like, "Oh, okay, no problem." I figure the other guy must have come back and and give the key because that sometimes happens. They'll drop it off and whatever. So I go, the key's not there. I go, "Oh, someone must be using it." And I said, "Just go up back and wait outside the door for him, and then just grab the key and then bring it back when you're done." 10 minutes or so later, the lady comes back and she goes, "Yeah. The guy says he's stuck in the bathroom. He can't get out." And it's like, "What? You mean he's stuck in the bathroom?" Okay, no problem. So I go out and back. There's a the storage room back, and then there's actually entrance to the lavatory that way too. So I go up there and go under the old door. He says, "Hey, I hear you're stuck in here." "Yeah, man, I'm stuck. I'm stuck, man." "Okay, I can get you out." Open the door, and no. Open the door, and there he is sitting on the john. He's injecting himself down below with something. And then he goes, man, no, this is just started now. This is just started. He goes, "Call the Hopkins Police Department, ask for a Sergeant so-and-so." I said, "Tell him that my so-and-so left me and I fell off the wagon." I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll help out. Just, cool your jets." And I go and over and dial the police department. They go, "Yeah, well, he's not on right now, but we'll get him for you." And then, of course, he calls back. And I go, "Yeah, so-and-so." Explain everything. The cop goes, "Never heard of this guy. I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "Well, yeah, specifically for you." It's like, "Yeah, I know. I kind of find it interesting, but I don't know anything about this. You should call your local police department and have them come out and take care of him." And this is where I actually, asked the stupid question. I mean, this is, this moron time here. I go, "Should I dial 911?" And he goes, "Yes, dial 911. He could be overdosing." It's like, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know if this was considered an emergency because back at that time, all that stuff's kind of growing out. We don't know which number to call. So I dial 911. I go, "Yeah, I have a guy possibly overdosing in the bathroom." And the lady goes, "How do you know that?" And it's like, "Listen, there's a guy in the bathroom. I talked to Hop. I need somebody down here now. Okay? Okay. It's like, "Yeah, fuck you." Oh, sorry. I said a French word. I just said a no word. So, okay. I hang up the phone.
Wait. No word.
No
word. That's why we got the warning disclaimer.
I know. I'm just having fun, just in case Paul might be watching. I don't want to, So I hang up the phone. No more than I hang up the phone. I'm on the phone talking to him. This lady comes running in and goes, "I need to use the phone. I said, just a moment. I get done, hang up the phone, and hand it to her. She goes, "Oh, great. I need to call 911. My car's on fire."
Boy.
So I got it. 911. I said, "Yeah, this is the Amico on 66 and Penn again. I have a car fire down here. I need to have someone, coming down here." Now, at this time, the manager, our friend, had already grabbed the fire extinguisher and went running out the door. And I call him up, do the calling, and I go out to join him. And this lady literally parks over where you put the fuel in for the gas. And smoke is coming out. This car's obviously has some sort of electrical fire. Bruce is in there. He's trying spraying everything out inside there as best as he can. Now, a couple blocks to the north of us is the firehouse, the secondary firehouse of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, I hear it." And the big engine comes down, pulls in, and I go walking over and join them. Now, Blackford, I don't know what these guys' names are. I'll just call them Johnny and Roy, like in emergency. And I walk up to them and go, okay, yeah, the overdose is over here. The car fire is over there. They stop and they look at each other. It's like, what? Is it, yeah, the overdose in the car fire. They didn't even know about the car fire yet. So, they do rock, paper, scissors. Okay, I'll go this way, I'll go that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy goes in there, opens the door, and I guess he catches him, injecting himself again in there. So that goes without saying. Before I know it, uh, everybody's coming down. We have an ambulance pull in. I don't know how many cop cars. The person, the chief or captain or whoever comes with his car, fire trucks, obviously, and they're taking care of everything. They take this guy away in the ambulance. They bring him back. They're taking apart our bathroom, and it's like about this time, it's like coming to the end of my shift, and this poor Dylan, his first day or Dayton, I can't remember. It starts with a D. He's just basically standing there. What's going? Is this normal? The manager says, "Okay, you guys can go. The other one we got you covered." About this time, the only people who are coming in are brave and overly curious to know what's going on. After that, everybody's all lined up on the outside watching the spectacle at our station. Well, I get the story that across the street from us there was a temporary service, and this temporary service would bring people down from Lake Street, which is, if anybody's familiar with what happened, in Minneapolis, that's where a lot of it happened, down on Lake Street. And they bring people down there, and then what they'd be doing is one guy would come in, use the bathroom, and use it as a drug drop off. And then that person would come in and ask for it, and can, and so on and so forth. So our bathroom was being used for that. And that's what we found out about. Of course, I got a letter in the mail saying that I might have to, testify. I'm going, great, just what I need to go in the Witness Protection Agency here. But I didn't have to. I called up and they go, yeah, being that the EMT or paramedic at that time caught him literally red-handed. Yeah, you won't go, and I didn't have to go for that. But I mean, I learned never to say that again after everything like that was going on. And I'm sure I must have missed a few points on that one, but it's like, it was quite an afternoon. Watch what you say, boys and girls. That's the motto of the day.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is one other one about the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the same gas station working, and he's clowning around with accents.
Oh, yeah.
And he does a Scottish accent. And then, Baron, go ahead, take over.
The person was from Scotland, and they thought I was really Scottish. They wanted to know where in Scotland I was from. And I dropped it and told him, yes, like, no, I'm just a guy from here, But I was able to do a good Scottish accent back in the day. I tell you what, there, with the wee barons walking around there and have a wee dram of whiskey, a little scotch. You have to have that scotch there, don't you know? Yeah.
Well, really, you did a Scottish accent.
Mm-hmm.
He did it so good that somebody from Scotland thought he was from Scotland.
I haven't done one done it in a long time, so you lose practice.
I know this ship like the back of my hand.
Aye, laddie. Remember, the more you take up the drumming, the easier it is to stop up the drain. If my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
Laddie, don't you think you might want to rephrase that?
I said it should be taken away as garbage.
And then the fight ensues.
One of the best episodes of Star Trek ever. That one really was.
Now, here's what I'm going to pull on the Baron.
Mm.
And the Baron and I were in Florida. Orlando, to be exact.
I don't know if we want to tell this story.
And we're at the state fairgrounds.
No, county.
Oh, yeah, county fairgrounds. Sorry.
But I don't know if we want to talk about this one, honestly. I don't.
But anyhow,
talk about this one.
we had all kinds of scum outside the building.
No one else listens to me.
Now, at quitting time, the people had to come out, walk to their cars, through this throng of scum. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. A throng of them are just all over the place. Suddenly I take a look at Baron. There he is. He's got his chainmail on and his sword. And he starts walking the people out to their car to make sure that they get there safely. His initiative, I never said anything. What are you doing? I'm going to make sure these people get to their cars. He did, too. There wasn't nobody out there that want to mess with him.
I'm harmless, mostly. Talking about ugly people, look what I have below me here.
Yeah.
I know. He talks about us being ugly. And, I mean, I don't know. I think we're good-looking guys.
Mm-hmm. And all he has is a P.
We're the only ones that aren't hiding our faces.
He has a P.
Fine.
Look, if I show my face, people will fall in love, and that will further distract from what's going on in this awful.
Phil, I hate to say this.
Yeah.
But the only thing with a bigger
I
ego
see
than
what's
you
in the background.
is an ant on a leaf going down the river yelling, "Open up the drawbridge."
I can see in the background through the window,
Phil.
and I see the Christmas ornaments
And
the hideous whoever put the blue Christmas lights out there. Yeah, it is.
they have all different colors. All different colors.
Blue is not a Christmas color.
I'll have a
Baron had nothing to do with
it. Christmas without Phil Kraken. That's not mine. That's the Griswold. That's the Griswolds out there.
Are they scary like the Griswolds?
I don't really know them, but it's kind of interesting. They actually lived across the street. That house went up for sale, so they bought it and literally moved across the street.
So they literally moved from one house to across the street to another house.
Yeah. Now, granted, the one house was smaller. This one was bigger. So,
Maybe they loved the neighborhood. Or maybe they just want to be closer neighbors with the Baron.
Yeah. It's an Advent color.
I just marvel about how far the apple falls from the tree. When you look in Old Man's behind him, everything's nice and organized. You look at Baron, and it looks like a hurricane went there behind him.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Because he's always going through that mess behind him to come up with stuff.
Yeah.
What is this? A roast of Baron?
Yeah, might as well be.
There he is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a little bit like Tolkien. Tolkien had the same problem, Yeah. People said about how he could have almost gotten killed in an avalanche.
Well, at least he didn't fall off a mountain like Hank Williams Jr. did, You heard the story about that, right? About Hank Williams Jr.?
No, I didn't hear about that one. I know he actually shot himself in the face with a shotgun.
Yeah, he actually fell off the face, not far, but he did fall a good distance off the face. He was a mountain climber and climbed the face of the mountain like kind of like good old Captain Kirk. Unfortunately, he fell. Yeah.
So, Star Trek V probably was not his favorite movie.
I like Star Trek.
I would not think so. We know you do, Phil. We know you do.
I love Star Trek 5.
It's its favorite
movie.
There should be a 1-year anniversary. That's why he's always wearing those glasses and hat.
I got to figure out how to get that on there. We can have a watch party of the Mystery Science Theater 3000 Star Trek 5.
Awesome.
Oh.
I see Gabe there. He's doing his little thing. Just remember there, pal. I know where you live.
Wow.
That sounds like a threat. If we don't want to make any threats here on YouTube, that might be taken the wrong way, Phil.
That's not a threat. That's all I said. I know where he lives.
I know where I live.
I might be going there with a handful of daisies for him. Because he's a daisy if he does. But, yeah.
Talking about Mystery Science Theater.
Phil is courting him.
Oh, that's
I-
sweet.
I got
That's
a
very
job
sweet of you.
doing a consultation work, helping see people out. It was a security building and everything else. Well, I'm inside the building. I'm going, wait a minute. I'm going, I think, and yes, I was in the original building that Mystery Science 3000 was done in. The studio and everything is there, the control room. And then they had some stuff that we had to remove, some cables. Oh, fudge. I had to pull back the ceiling tile, go up there, took one look at that, and I go, no, we'll leave it. You can't believe whoever did their wiring back then was a moron. Just a mess. But I actually worked in that building for a while. Whoopee,
But
whoopee.
no bots were harmed in this telling of the story.
No. But of course, their next door neighbor was Save the Children.
Mm.
Now, I'm not going to badmouth them. I mean, they're really doing stuff that's good. But when they cooked up stuff over there, it stunk the whole building up and down the line.
Mm.
I don't know what in the world they were cooking, but I wouldn't want to have eaten it.
Borscht.
Borscht don't even spell that bad. Yeah, Gap, you're absolutely right. I'm glad they are.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Gap is a happy fellow.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy. He knows my cousin Pat McGroin.
Wah, 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 wah. Actually, why did I do it that way? I actually have the song clip. If I actually play it, you can hear it.
Please do.
Okay.
Just what we need.
It sounded like a sad trumpet player.
Well, it was for you.
It's always for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you better believe it.
Get out that violin, folks. Phil, since you have such a sad,
We
sad
don't
story,
call it violins. We call it fiddles.
since you
No,
have
you
such
call it a
a
gift fiddle.
sad story, Phil, why did you go on with an interesting story or fond memory?
I'll let
Make
the old
sure
man
it's
go
sad.
before me. I have to respect my elders, so the old man goes before me. I can wait.
Well, while we're doing that, you got him. Okay, I was just going to say, let's invite Gap After Dark in. There he is.
Yeah, what's up,
Look
fellas?
who it is.
He looks like Henry Cavill.
He wishes he looks like Henry.
I brought the sexy in here. That's the closest picture I could find that looks like me.
Oh,
You hear that, Phil?
You got competition, Phil.
No.
He says he's the most handsome man on the YouTube.
Gap's bringing sexy back.
I am bringing
You sure
sexy
about
back.
that? Are you positive about that?
Look, Raisin. You remind me of those dried up raisin commercials.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Leah Rose.
hi, Leah.
Hey, Larry Rose.
Yeah, I've never had such an elderly troll after me until now, Phil. So how was everybody's Christmas?
Nice and quiet.
Yeah, rather peaceful.
Yes, me too. The first time. No drama, no nothing. Actually had a good time with my older brother and his family, and we watched Top Gun Maverick.
Oh,
Very nice.
the new Christmas film, huh?
Yeah, apparently, because it was really, really good. I was like, wow.
I have not seen it yet. I know the Long Suffering saw it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Her Christmas
God.
was lonely.
I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan after him jumping on the couch with Oprah, but It was really, really, really good. I mean,
Excuse me, but I think I'm the most attractive man on YouTube. Thank you very much, Mr. Cavill.
Oh my God! Look at that old white man with a Santa cap on.
That's Gary Busey.
It's Gary Busey. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Jet.
I like him.
Yeah, well, the reason why I found that picture because he actually voiced Santa Claus in a game called Killing Floor 2 for their holiday update. So yeah,
Gary Busey as Santa Claus.
I remember him and Klu Gulager, I think it was, doing the opening sequence for Piranha 3D.
God, Piranha 3D. Oh man, wow.
now, I thought that was Christopher Lloyd in that movie.
He was in it, and so was David Hasselhoff.
Don't hassle the Hoff.
Was in there. The Hoff was in there.
Do not hassle the Hoff. Not at all.
I did like Knight Rider, but
What about Baywatch?
yeah. What about Baywatch? We all know why we watch Baywatch. At least
Jiggles
here on the stream.
Yeah, there wasn't enough jiggles on the Baywatch. No, I'm just kidding.
All it wiggles isn't Jello.
Well, you ain't lived until you watch the slow motion scenes in slow motion. So,
I watched Baywatch, but I don't. I watched it when Pamela Anderson was on there, and I didn't watch the whole series, but I watched some of it. But
I mean, to be honest, I don't think I've seen a full episode of that series ever.
I think I saw 3 shows.
It's basically it's Magnum. It's just basically Magnum PI with more TNA
and more water, right?
Oh yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
And Hasselhoff doing his magnificent running into the water.
Yeah,
that was for the women. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching the show on Heroes and Icons.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Remember Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, wow. That show is so outdated. It was just
but fun.
It was fun. Don't you watch some of the older shows you watched as a kid and you thought, wow, this is fast paced. And now you watch it now and you're like, is the episode over yet?
No, I never had that problem.
Oh gosh, yeah, I've been watching that, and I've been watching Richard Dean Anderson MacGyver because I do not like the new MacGyver at all.
No. Garbage.
It is total garbage. And then Quantum Leap, I hadn't watched any of the new show. I refuse to watch it. I'm like, nah.
Oh, Phil McCrack is a big fan of that show. You should ask him about it.
Of course, he would love it.
Oh yeah, he's got a detailed episode by episode thing.
Falling down and bumped your heads together.
Yeah, well, I wish my quantum accelerator would work because I'd bump you off the stream. But anyway, it was
wow.
When was the last time you did any bumping?
Whoa!
Oh, wait a minute.
That's true.
I am not good.
You have the ring, and I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how well you handle it.
Well, the volume sucked on, but I know what they said.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you, Phil, because I know where your hands are right now. So,
whoa!
You sure about that?
Well,
I think I got another clip I need to play.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Barrett, you sure you want this to happen to your channel?
Hey, I've had worse.
Phil, that's right. I know you don't have your hands down there because there ain't nothing but a limp biscuit. But
Here we go. Here we go.
Wow.
Are you sure you want to go there, Gap? Are you sure you want to go there?
I thought we were talking about interesting stories and fond memories, not
Here we
your
go.
mama.
Is that the topic of the show? What is the
here's what
topic of
happened.
the
Gap,
show?
A magnifying glass and a tweezers.
He didn't have a great Christmas. He's upset.
Tweezers.
He's lonely.
There's
he
only one.
He doesn't have a significant other to cuddle with. So yeah, I
Well,
understand it.
at
And I'm
least-
going to be
At least
Very interesting, but stupid.
at least my significant other doesn't require 4 double D batteries or a USB connection.
my significant other is alive.
Like a panther. Yes?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slapdown here on
Slapdown
PACIFIC414 and Fandomology. We have the biggest match going on right now between Phil. God help me with these nuts, McCracken and Gap after dark.
No.
It is
all I
unmerciful,
need with
folks.
Gap to take Gap out is a little pin because he's full of hot air.
Yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. I am the Lord and Master of the Ring.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here, I'm the man.
I just thought those were appropriate clips.
I'm the man. That's right.
Who's the man? Not you.
Yeah.
You're right.
And Phil's fond memories is just trolling us. I mean, that's all he has stories about is trolling us.
Dear Diary.
I haven't yet to begun to troll.
Perish the thought.
A couple days ago was wonderful trolling. Had Mike and Paul in the same stream. They couldn't go anywhere. And I'm sitting back and enjoying some potato chips while they're cringing.
Yeah, because you were munching on your chips, and every time you took a bite, it's in the freaking microphone.
You think I did that on purpose?
That is annoying. I can't stand it when I hear someone eat on stream.
Would I do that on purpose?
I'm going to get some chips.
Yeah, let's get some chips, Baron.
It does better with popcorn. If you have popcorn, it's a lot better.
I had that for once, thank you.
Okay, Mike.
You know
I'm
what?
sorry.
You know what, Phil? You know what? No. This will not stand. This aggression will not stand, man.
I'm not an aggressive person in my life.
This aggression will not stand. Man. But you know what? Sometimes, Phil. Sometimes.
He said, "Today is a good day to die."
You threatened Gap earlier. You make jokes out of me. You have declared war on the Klingon Empire.
Well, I've just got one thing to say. Execute Order 66 immediately.
Well, I've got that clip if you'd like that to happen. I've got that clip.
Time has come. Execute Order 66.
That's right.
I'm fast.
We got one thing wrong about this. It says we're supposed to talk about memories, but somehow it turned into chat room roast.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's what happens when Phil McCracken pops up.
I didn't start anything. All I said when you were ready to ask me, I said, well, I'll let old man take my turn so you can go first. And then Mr.
But he'd already mentioned a story so far. We're asking you, Phil. You were asking for you, Phil.
You know what was great about Christmas and the last couple days, the last 7 days? There was no gap. There was no gap. Gap shows up. And then
Oh my gosh, I'm so hurt by a troll.
Here we go. One more clip, Aaron. One more clip.
One shall stand, one shall fall. Why throw away your life so recklessly?
Hey,
no,
why don't you
Optimus Prime, no.
Hey, the only reason why Geritol stock is up is because of you, Phil.
You sure about that? Are you positive about that?
I am,
How
trophy
are
old
you so
man.
sure?
I'm just sure.
What about Viagra?
What did I do?
What would Phil need to do with that? It only get 0.01 centimeters.
I don't need Viagra. I have no problems.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Let's
They say the first sign of dementia is.
I'll go out since you're throwing the gauntlet. I'll throw the gauntlet down.
I've already thrown my gauntlet.
I have offspring. Do you have offspring?
Yeah.
Oh, what? I'm not counting cats and dogs.
It is cats and
I'm gonna
dogs.
say there we go.
What does that mean?
I have real offspring.
What does that mean?
That means
I am so damn old, I don't even know what Viagra's for.
it's for people like Gap that get up in the morning and I wish I could. I wish I could. I think I can.
You're probably
Okay.
that pervert that I caught the video camera in my bathroom.
Let's get back on topic.
Roasting was fun, folks, but I'm sure we have interesting stories that are just as wild.
Yeah, so
as
please
fun.
tell me what the stream is about.
The stream is about
the title of the
talking
stream?
about interesting stories and fond memories.
Yes.
Of anything?
Yeah.
Anything that's always been interesting story.
It's
to
real.
you, that's real. A fond memory that's real.
Okay, I have a fond memory from Dragon Con in Atlanta. When I was with my friend Julie, and she's part of the con, and her boyfriend, they run the con suite at the in Atlanta, and she had, in order to have my VIP access badge to go anywhere, I had to do errands every so often. So I'm on my way to Battlestar Galactica party to pass out flyers for the next day, and somebody runs right into me and knocks all the papers on the sidewalk. And it turns out to be Gareth David Lloyd from Torchwood.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to talk with him. And then when I got all the papers together, I got into where Battlestar Galactica was. And I had my backpack with my Emmy DVD set from Battlestar Galactica that only the Emmy voters can get. Did you hear that, Phil? Only Emmy voters. And Edward James almost came up on and tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around and I dropped all the papers again. I dropped the papers and my back knapsack fell down, and he was like, "I just came to say hello."
Oh, dude.
Pictures or I don't believe it.
And then I said, "Well, wait a minute. I've got something only certain people can get." And he goes, "Show me." So I showed him the Emmy set that they sent out just for the Emmy voters. And he's like, "Oh my God." He said, "Wow." He said, "Here, let me sign it." So he signed it. So he said, "Welcome aboard." And he signed my name. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then I met Tracy Lord, but I pissed her off.
That's not right.
Tracy Lords.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the fan tables and all that crap at all the conventions. Well, I could walk in there because I had a special colored badge and lanyard, so I could take pictures in there. And so I was taking a picture of Nichelle Nichols, not her, from across the room, and she came up to me and she said, "Did you just take a picture of me?" And I'm like, "No, I've already seen everything you've got. I don't want any photographs of it." So then her bodyguard comes up and says, "Well, we need to see and delete that photograph." And I'm like, "This man's touching me inappropriately. This man's touching me inappropriately." And then Nichelle Nichols saw that. She gets up out of her table and she comes over and she says, "You leave that poor boy. What are you doing touching him in inappropriate places?" Oh my gosh. I guess most of my fond memories would be from the cons because I've met so many celebrities in the most, not paying for their autographs, but just outside of when they're doing their panels.
Yeah.
You know, and I had Tracy Scoggins, you know, she was in Babylon 5 and Lois and Clark. And I was outside the Hyatt and I was sitting down waiting for Julie to come up, tell us what we had to do next. But I had a big headache and I had my hands in my head and she had just got out of the limousine. And I look up and I'm like, oh, wow, look at her. Yeah. And so then I put my head back down and she came and she tapped on me and she said, are you okay? And I said, I have this big raging headache. So she goes, she said, well, I hope you feel better. She goes and she comes back out. She said, here's the Tylenol. I mean, you know, it's that those are my fond memories, but you need to get on with it clip from Monty Python and Holy Grail. Oh, I'm sorry, that was in the private chat.
Yeah.
I just put that in there because I think Phil was trying, because the whole thing with Phil is holding us up.
Phil.
Yeah. There's no time restraint on this episode.
What?
There isn't?
There's no time restraint on this episode.
So what are you guys that are streaming? What's coming up for 2023? Like, can we start with Baron and then Mike and old man? I know you don't stream, and you know,
hardening of the arteries.
Hardening. But do you guys have anything cool coming up? Like, are you going to change formats? Are you going to add more stuff? Or
I think it's safe to say we're experimenting around a little bit. This stream itself is proof of that. We're dual streaming on both of our channels itself.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking to see what we could progress with, how to go about things, what to tweak, all that good stuff. So hopefully things work. I know Mike's been experimenting around with times. I have to experiment around with times myself now too. Normally I don't worry about competing with other YouTubers, but when you have a giant that takes that starts YouTubing at the time that you normally do, it's like I got too many cross people. People that crossovers. It's like it's gonna be hard. So,
may I mention a day that I think, and most other people who, because I wrench for a lot of huge channels, and Tuesday before 9, I think it's 9 or 10 Central, seems to be wide open as far, because I watch you guys more on YouTube than I watch TV. So Tuesday seems to be lacking, and maybe a Saturday thing, but I definitely know Tuesday is lacking big time, because I'm like, damn, none of you guys are on, and I don't have anything to watch. Because I don't like regular TV.
No, regular TV stinks, in my opinion. But I know we have Tuesday Night Trek with Master Paul that usually Mike and I do.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing that would make it difficult to, say, instead of doing Pop Talk on its own on a Wednesday and, doing it on Tuesday at an earlier time before Tuesday Night Trek, because yourself, Gap. Pop Talk has a tendency of going off the rails, but if you don't mind, Baron,
yeah,
I am gonna say, and I mentioned this during the last Sunday edition of Pop Talk in the beginning, that changes are coming to the channel, not just Pop Talk itself, but the channel itself, and with Pop Talk starting in 2023, and it will be on the January 4th episode of Pop Talk. It isn't going to be open panel each and every episode. It's going to be an open panel 2 times a month. Once on a Sunday show, once on a Wednesday show. In the meantime, it'll either be a combination of myself and Baron and anyone who I'm able to line up, or it might just be me some episodes. Those episodes where it's just me, it'll just be an hour.
Well, that sounds good. I've been invited to get on streams, and I'd like to do more of that. I still don't know where I want to go, but like I'd like to get on. I'm gonna get on a stream and show some of the stuff that I collect actually live, which is something different that I don't normally do. You know, I want to start doing that, and because it's hard for me to keep up wrenching all these shows because, like you said, Baron, when you got a big heavy hitter on a Wednesday night and Friday night, it's hard. It's hard when you're friends with the other YouTubers and you're trying to go through 3 shows, wrenching 3 shows. You know, it's like, you know, and even one of them was like, "Where you been, dude? You know, you're only here a little bit." Yeah. And I said, "Well, I've got 3 of y'all all at the same damn time. It's kind of hard."
Yeah. And I've even mentioned to Baron and Cash how I'd like to have you on Pop Talk more. I'd like to have you on the channel more. But I understand, because I've seen it for myself, that you do wrench for a lot of channels. And I don't want to say to you, you better come to Pop Talk. No. Nobody's ever obligated to come over and watch any of the content I do, especially if there's somebody streaming at the same time that, you know, they like to watch during that particular day and that particular time.
Except me, I'm contracted.
Kathy, let me answer this way. Ho, ho, ho.
I mean, again, you completely do look the part.
Huh?
Who?
Old man, he does look the part.
Yeah, you do. You do look like Santa.
I really had to grow into it.
But
yeah, well, I'd say only because of the beard and the white hair. That's mostly why I say you look the part.
But you know, Mike, some of the shows that you've done about the YouTubers and who they are and why they do what they do, I really liked those because you get to peel a layer off of them and you get to know them in a different way. I really like those shows. But yeah, if you want to have me come on, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna start doing revealing what I have collectible wise, and then the Lego channel on Salacious Rum, I'm gonna try to get on there and start building Legos because those guys have so much fun. And they just shoot the breeze, and he has you know, set guests, and he says, you know, if you guys ever or gals want to come on and just shoot the breeze and build some Legos, you know, that would be cool. And he does that. He has his set things, but he's open to have other people on. But, you know, and you get to know them in a different way too, which is really cool. Like right now, I'd like to know, like, all that stuff behind Baron, you know, what's all those goodies? I know there's lots of goodies in that room.
You better believe there are.
Not just this room, too.
How many? My God, how many rooms?
Oh, let's see. I got another basic library across the hall, one spare bedroom. I got a bunch of books piled up, and another one where I've been reading in. And then in the living room, there's a bunch of books also, some more library material. I think I got some stuff downstairs. So, yeah, my wife constantly complains that she lives in a library.
Yeah, when I go down south into that funny little whatever they stick you in, and he gets my books, with his books, he can open up his own public library.
Wow. You know, those are going to be real valuable.
Oh, some of them actually are. I've been kind of looking around some of the books I got. It's like, oh, wow, that's that much now? And it kind of surprises me the how much some of the books are. And then I'm looking at the price that they're asking for something that they say is in good condition or fair condition. It's like my books are practically mint because I'm very careful when I read my books and all that, even my gaming books. And it's like, oh wow, well if that's going for that price, I wonder whether this would be worth it. You know?
Yeah, I feel you on the, oh yes, it's in very good condition. And then when you get it, you're like, were you blind when you packed it and sent it? Because this looks like, I'm sorry, the spine's cracked. How can that be good condition?
I mean, it's like just pulling one right here. There's one of my prize collections. It's the book club edition of the Chilton printing of Dune.
Wow, nice,
Mhm.
nice.
I got it for like $3 many years ago.
Wow. Oh, and I love those. And it's hard to find those old bookstores anymore.
I know it is.
Because that's where you can find all the hidden gems and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, oh wow, it's just. And oh man, you got some books on you seem to be very neat of all of us, I think.
Yeah.
and then baby Jet.
You have no idea what my desk looks like.
It's a mess.
No,
It's
most of what's on my shelf are my shelves are mostly DVDs. There's maybe 4 books.
But it looks clean though, right?
Yeah, it is organized. I got family films, and one thing I got all the kung fu / adventure and action films, and I got all the science fiction films all in one place, or more or less things about aliens. I got all my superhero films all grouped together and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh wow, Baron! Wow.
So an
Nice.
autograph from John Pertwee, a signed print from Diesel from the Deities and Demigods rule book. Actually, he redid the artwork for that one. Of course, 2 unopened original Star Wars toys, and just one of Coruscant.
Wow, nice, very nice.
And then, of course, his Christmas present.
Yeah, I've got to figure out what to do with them, but finally got my comic book original pages framed. So
wow, nice.
One of them which has me in it. So
that's awesome.
Original artwork.
Yep, the original artist Gordon Purcell.
Nice, nice. I've got the
in
original.
Fact, that's the. Oh, did I do that wrong? Okay, here we go. In fact, that's me. That's from the page.
I love it. That is cool.
When I was younger, and I don't know, dumber.
And you had blonde hair.
Well, yeah, I had blonde hair. Yeah, well, yeah, I had blonde hair. It's still kind of a dishwater, whatever. But yeah, I got about 5 of those I can put up around there because from various issues of Star Trek: The Next Generation they drew. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't afford to have a place that I put out all my stuff. I mean, I've got all the UPN Star Trek posters when Voyager was on there. I've got the original Revenge of the Jedi from the Lucas fan club. I've got the first Lucas. I got all the Banta Track issues from the fan club and the patches. And I've got a bunch of original Star Wars posters, and I'm surprised they have made it, since because there was a movie theater where I lived, and downstairs in the basement, I was talking to the people you buy the tickets, and the manager came out and he's like, your mom always drops you off all the time, and you're one of our best customers. He said, I got something to show you. So we go down there, and it was a room full of rolled movie posters, and he used to say, go and take 1 or 2 of them every time you come see a movie. And I mean, I've got hundreds of movie posters, and I wish I could put them all out. And yeah, and I used to have a tractor trailer when I moved. I used to have half of a tractor trailer truck was just my collectibles, and then furniture, and then there was another U-Haul with collectibles. And that's why, what I mentioned about getting and showing the collection, because people are like, we can see in some of your shorts that you got a bunch of stuff, and I was like, you guys have no idea how much stuff I have, and books, and all kinds of stuff, and it's hard to tell as a collector, don't you think, what stuff you like and you think might be valuable down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the most important thing when I collect stuff, I'm not collecting for money or monetary sake. It's because I like it. But sometimes you never know. I mean, then you start finding out, oh wow, it is worth something.
Gap, have you ever seen those deals where you go into different places and they got these flip things where you can flip back and forth? They got stuff on each side, huge rack.
Yes, yes. Oh, and they're harder to find places like that.
You know, I mean, that'd be neat for you for your posters.
Yeah, I mean, it would. I mean, you know, one of the posters is worth one of the Star Wars posters, and I had it. You know, I brought it to a legit place to grade it and authenticate it and all that. Is $3,500.
Yeah.
And it was the most offbeat poster you would think in the entire planet. And, you know, then my Star Wars ones, he was like, holy crap. And I told him the story like I told you guys, you know, the movie theater manager back in the day, he would always, I mean, and it was, y'all, it was like, you know, huge room full of just rolled posters. And I'm like, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, you come here all the time. You know, my mom would drop me off and I would sit and absorb all these movies. And then during a break from one movie to the next one, he would say, hey, you know, go get your posters and stuff. And till I finally realized I needed to wait until after I was through watching movies at his theater to go down there, not to sit and hold them for 2 hours, you know. But yeah, and plus bookcases are too expensive today. And
oh yeah,
my collectible room kind of looks like a storage unit right now. Because and then, you know, I'd like to buy the cases to protect the action figures, but those are expensive. And I've got 2,200 DVDs/Blu-rays. I have 600 VHS tapes. I don't know how many books I have, but I got into liking the artwork on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fond memory, is collecting all those old posters.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the VHS covers, some of them are like, you know, the old album covers. And, you know, finding the old Star Wars storybooks with the records, you know, stuff. Remember Power Records? They used to do the $6 million. Yeah, all of that. That's a fond memory.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you're mentioning all this stuff, and I've said it to Baron and Cash several times that I need to put together a third collector's stream like I've done twice this year, where I have
that would
different
be
people
cool.
come on and talk about their collections and show their collections of what they have.
And then I found this the other day. I was trying to rearrange, and I found the original Walt Disney The Black Hole movie poster and press kit.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, back in the day, press kits just used to be stapled on the left-hand top left corner, and they would have different versions of the movie posters, and that was to be used to set in the newspapers. And it was just fascinating, you know. I mean, I used to love, that's another fun memory. I used to love looking at movie theater ads, and I used to collect TV guides until they changed the format. And I go back and look at some of these, you know, TV guide covers. They used to look like pieces of art. And, you know, I mean, my mom thought I was crazy. She's like, she would buy the TV guide, she just throw it in the shopping cart. And I'm like, excuse me, you're going to bend it. You're going to ruin the. And she said, I raised you this way. I said, apparently you have.
Sounds
so. Yeah, and my dad. Oh my God, my dad used to get me all the Star Wars figures, except for after I opened them all and only kept one card back. He was like, one day, he's like, you got a minute? And I learned from then on, when your dad or boss says you got a minute, they talk to you about something. So my dad's like, "You got a minute?" And he says, all those Star Wars figures, I got a feeling they're going to be super, super, super valuable down the road. Next time, don't take them out of the packages. And ever since that day, I don't take figures out of the package, although I would love to. But then I'm afraid, that I'm torn between, as a collector, the originalness of it all together, or taking it out of the package but even the loose figures I got the Jawa with the plastic cape and the cloth cape.
Ooh,
very
the
nice.
plastic one is a pricey one.
Yes, and you know what? It's just sitting in there in the Darth Vader collector case. I got the Darth Vader collector case, and I've got the C-3PO collector case. All full of the original figures, and at least I did something right. I had you remember those little lunch baggies that your mom used to put your sandwich in and fold it in before they got zipper things?
Yeah.
Apparently, I was at least smart enough to put my action figures in those, and I stapled them across to keep it shut, and I put them all in the Darth Vader case and the C-3PO case.
Yeah.
And when I was talking with Blue Harvest Toys, and he does those Star Wars auctions, I saw the Jawa on there, and I'm like, I got that. I'm running in there and I'm opening that, and there it was. And it's like, those were fond memories. The Star Wars, going to the Star Wars movie with your family, something you're to do together as your family. First time we went to the movies all together with Star Wars, and that lit the fire. After that, it was just like, my dad was like, look, you only can have certain amount of collectibles, but he did go nuts on the Star Wars and the Space 1999 stuff. I begged for that so bad. And he's like, well, I've got a list for you. And of course, I think it had 50 things on there for me to do before Christmas. And he said,
that's the thing, back in the day, we had to do stuff around the house in order to earn, these toys or collectibles or something that we wanted.
Yep. And I had the original Space 1999 ship, walkie-talkies and stuff. And part of his list, I'll never forget the last one. These chores shall continue for here on out with therefore into the near future. It wasn't just to get through to Christmas. He was like, no, you're going to be doing these from now on. I was like, okay. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Because it made you appreciate it. And, I remember the ship and, and the Star Trek stuff. I have 2 original Star Trek Mego figures, Captain Kirk and Mega and Spock. And I remember my dad was like, do not open these. Just put, back then they didn't have those nice cases that I could remember. And we put them in, the kind of plastic where it wouldn't ruin anything. So, yeah, you guys are making me go back. Yeah, those were some good times. And then going to school with your $6 million man lunchbox.
When I was a kid, I was 15 years old. We went to a little place in Montana, to the first territorial capital of that state. Most people think, oh, Virginia City. No. We went to Bannock, Montana. And it was a full-fledged ghost town. Everything was there. Going up and down the streets, they had huge signs all over telling you, don't walk off a trail, because you could walk into a mine shaft. An air vent for one of the mines or whatever. The place was home with mines digging for gold and silver and what have you. But one of the things that was most outstanding, and I went into these places, I went into one building, one of the big old huge potbelly stoves from the 1800s. And it's perfect. And this is an abandoned town. This is a full-fledged ghost town. Way down the street, there were a couple of houses. And when we were looking, we could see the curtains kind of move a little bit. People peeking out at us. But they were probably the only residents of the town. But I went into the newspaper office, and this is where honesty hurts. I mean, this is history, and I can't do something about it. But I went in there were print sheets, master print sheets for the newspaper. These insert things that were made out of plastic, you put them in and you covered them over. You get transfer the picture onto the newspaper, all over in the place. And I was picking up stuff that was dated 1870.
Mm-hmm.
This is all original stuff from Bannock, Montana. And yeah, it's something else. You're walking through all this history. We went into the bank. Oh my gosh. A huge walk-in safe way out there back then. It would have rivaled anything they had in New York City back then. And now it's a state historical site. And I've seen pictures of what they've done, and boy, if they mucked up was there. Oh, they know better than anybody else how to preserve this history. Right. It hurts. But back then, to think of the stuff I could have walked out of there with. And nobody would have said anything.
Do you have anything like that? Because you just reminded me of my grandpa used to pick up those, what do you call it? They were made out of glass and they put them on telephone poles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The insulators up there.
Yeah. My grandpa collected all of those, and he used to take me to, he was a truck driver, and in the summer I'd get to go, or wherever he went for a short haul, a few days, but he used to stop by and look at all this history stuff and pick up stuff along the way. And do you have anything like that? Oh man,
I've got a few of them that I picked up over the years that I didn't shoot.
Yeah.
When I was a hole little punk kid, we used to go out and walk along the railroad tracks with our 22s and would shoot those things off. Hardly anybody was using the telegraph back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were shooting those off the rail, I mean, some of the terrible vandalism stuff that I did back then, it's disgusting, but I did. I admit it.
Well, you and how many thousands of other kids,
Yeah.
I mean,
I was with a buddy. The three of us used to go out, Steve and Larry and me. Both those guys are gone now. Larry died in Vietnam, and Steve died here a few years ago of cancer. But we used to go out there, and anyhow, Larry would see a little bird, about the size of a sparrow, flying along, and he whipped that 22 rifle up and shoot it out of the air with a 22 rifle. That's the kind of shot that he was.
Wow.
And and they always used to be amazed at what I could do. Because back then I was doing an awful lot of stuff out at the Stagecoach Gun Museum. And I did stunt work out there and shooting. And used to impress the people. Oh, you'd be amazed the number of people that got blown away by cheap parlor tricks. You take an ice cube and you throw it up in the air and you shoot the ice cube out of the air. Oh, wow, look at what he did. Okay. If you can hit that ice cube on the ground at that distance, you can shoot it out of the air. You just throw it up in the air, and when it reaches apogee, that's when you shoot. It's standing still for a moment. Boom, you get it. Oh, it's so fantastic. No, just timing.
What is that picture, old man, behind you? Because every time I do see you, which is rarely, I'm curious, that picture behind you.
That is the picture of my hometown from, what is it again, 1880?
Something like that.
From 1880.
Wow.
Now, the house I grew up in at the very end of Chaska, It's gone. They destroyed it, the morons. But on that picture, going all the way back to the 1850s, there was one little building sitting there. Then at some time later, they put another piece onto it and added together 2 houses to make one. The house should have been on the historical registrar of the historical places. Nope, they destroyed it. Some people just don't have any brains.
Do you think, old man, that anything from the past, or can you name anything you think in the past 22 years that might be considered historical down the road? I'm not sure if I could point to anything physical except for maybe a computer, but then how historical could that be in the context of something like an 1880s picture?
Well, a computer would be like a museum piece. I mean, not necessarily architecture. When it comes around the architecture, that's kind of hard.
You go into some of these small towns, and it doesn't matter whether you're East Coast, West Coast, or wherever. The guys on the East Coast can have more fun with it, particularly if they go into the old town areas. You drive by a building, oh, look, that's kind of old. Stop for a second and look up at the top. They usually put in the date when that building was built. You go in there and you take a look, and oh, that house was built in 1857. Huh? Yeah. That long, that business has been there in that building. All those years, that building is still standing there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, the other part that gets you is take a look at some of the crap they put up here. 20 years later, they got to tear it down because it's turned into garbage. Uninhabitable. You can't work out of it. I've seen a lot of modern buildings that they put up. And I kid you not, oh, it's so wonderful. It's so much better than the old junk we tore down. Well, why in the heck did you need about 5 wrecking balls and dynamite to blow up that old building to put up a piece of garbage that now 20 years later, you're going to tear it down? And all you do is you look at it and blow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
embrace.
Sad at.
Embrace modernity. Embrace modernity. Modern art, modern architecture. There you go. Hi, everybody.
Hey, nerd.
Well, look who's here.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey. I identify as a modern tutorial, and I'm in Chicago.
Tutorial.
So if you, trigger warning, just telling I'm here, and you have to cater to me now because I'm just that entitled.
You change your name serious. More often than Fat Steven Seagal, I tell you.
Yeah.
Who? But yeah, how you guys doing?
Ooh,
I saw you guys on, and I was like, what's? I'm like, I'm seeing stories. I'm like, I see stories being told. So I'm just curious the context.
What stories do you have?
Oh,
anything. Do you have any memorable stories, interesting stories, fond memories, anything in that like? I know that Gap had a story about when he was at a convention a few times. I actually got one on the back burner too from a convention I went to. But it's time to.
So I gotta ask, who's the true leader? Who's the true commander of this stream? Because there's 2 streams right here. There's Mike and then there's Baron. So who's the higher? Who's the
Baron?
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort.
Team effort.
Yeah. Okay. We are experimenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
that's what happens when ideas start percolating in my head, and then I tell somebody about it.
And you are a little guinea pig, modern tutorial.
Well, I mean, modern guinea pig, sure. Very, 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 very anti-feminine, very anti-masculine. I'm anti-everything. You know why? Because I'm modern, and that's how it is.
Whatever it is, he's against it. He's against it.
Yep. So if you do something bad, I gotta protest.
Oh.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not a racist. I hate everybody equally.
Yeah. Well, get ready to protest, then, Brian. Get ready to protest.
I mean, I've been called woke porial before, so I'm just saying, I've been called everything.
Who called you woke porial?
Some people call me that. It's become a joke. It's become a joke at this point. So, I mean, pretty much. I mean, I mean, my story I want to tell. I mean, really enjoyed, becoming a content creator and just meeting just a whole bunch of people. Like just, and I've been going through old DMs, just trying to figure out how I first, got in touch with people, how I met them and everything. And I honestly, I'm trying to remember how I first met you, Mike. Like, I don't know if it was you coming on my stream or we talked during someone else's stream. Do you remember?
It was on a member stream for Gary.
Oh, Neurotic. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was going around talking, trying to meet a bunch of people who were also, following Mr. Gary, and trying to. I guess I was trying to shop for some subscribers. Ooh. So,
wow. Listen to him.
Yeah, we're trying to. Well, the thing that one of my big goals was trying to find a way to connect with people, whether it was similar interests or similar ideas, not ideas, but similar interests, and just having the chance to really talk about that with people. Because I'll be honest, growing up, I was pretty much a loner. Like, I got into Star Trek when I was 11 or 12, but I didn't know anyone who else was into Star Trek. My mother was like, "I can't believe I'm raising a Trekkie," because I mean, my parents are boomers. My dad actually kind of got me into it a little bit. He bought me the tapes when I was a kid. I used to get them every other Christmas. So yeah. So I even talk about the tapes that I got in the video game retrospectives that I do. Like, I'm really trying to chronicle like my life, or at least the happiest parts of my life. And the happiest parts of my life, believe it or not, especially when I was a kid, was playing the game or watching the show and becoming inspired, and just understanding that there's there's altruism and there's loyalty out there, and that people can treat each other well, and like there's a possibility that you can be respected, and that you can be you can make friends. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. That's kind of what I was hoping for, and then kind of developed that over the course of several
Phil.
years.
Sorry.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, Phil is. Me and Phil. I just I make up a lot of hashtags about him, like Phil is Scrooge, and Phil is this, and Phil is that, and yeah.
So. You know what? I really, really super like you now, a modern Nerporeal, because you come on and Phil disappeared.
Where is he?
I don't know. He didn't say anything in the private chat.
I don't know.
Maybe he had to do something, so he had to leave his computer for a long period of time.
It's that hemorrhoid cream. He has to apply it.
Oh, okay.
Kathy Skywalker wrote it quite a bit ago in the chat.
I don't think. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I'm just like it's going to be 2 years coming April since I started my channel, and it's just been a wild ride. Like, I've been meeting so many people through other people. And instead of I don't have streams like this where you have like open invites. The only time I'll do an open invite, whether it's like, if it's like a birthday stream or extremely chill stream, which is something I rarely do. I usually do streams that are usually focused on a particular subject, like a movie or perhaps a season of a show, or maybe even a video game at some point. I'll have to do something like that eventually. And what I do is I really try to find people who are either equal or more knowledgeable about the subject than I am. That way, the conversation, at least for me, the conversation is very fruitful, and hopefully it's engaging for the audience as well. So, but I really like watching. I mean, I'm not always available, but like when you guys are on, you guys are talking and everything. It's always enjoyable to see you guys talking. Just being very casual, being very organic, and I felt like I haven't been on for a while. I felt just show my face and make it about me. So
you got that.
See, telling the story, it is about you, because it's a story that from your childhood or your teenage years or even into your adulthood, and you're telling it from your perspective of that story.
Yeah. And like, I grew up I grew up. I mean, I was pretty. I mean, I was a pretty sensitive kid. Like, you know, I was one of those kids, and I still kind of fight this. You know, fear of missing out is one of the big things, because I was usually not included, and like sometimes people didn't invite me to things. Sometimes people didn't treat me the way they treated others and everything. Whether or not I actually deserved that, well, perhaps. I mean, I was a kid. I was stupid. And I mean, I'm still stupid. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to learn and trying to, you know, try to better myself the best I can.
Good luck, because even at my age, you're going to find out you're going through the same thing.
I know. That's, I mean, none of us are ever perfect. We can only try to be as patient and try to, I mean, the best way to be wise is to know you're a dumbass. And I know I'm a dumbass, and I'm just only step to go, only place to go is up. And that's through learning and through, you know, being patient and being happy with yourself. And which is something that, I mean, I know a lot of people like to, I mean, one of the ways to really be happy with yourself is really to try to accomplish something. And I mean, especially with the YouTube stuff, I learned a whole bunch of new things. And because of the fact that, I mean, learning stuff for me is pretty difficult. And it's really requires a lot of patience on my end with myself. So when you do learn something, it's probably one of the most rewarding payoffs that you can ever truly experience. And then when you make something that means, when you create something that means something to a lot of people, that's even more fulfilling. And so like I don't want, once again, I'm making this about myself. One of my videos I did one video I did 3 months ago recently just blew up. I don't get the algorithm. It did this a couple months ago with another video that I did, another old video. So my Forbidden Planet video a couple months ago just blew up for no reason. So the average demographic that was watching my video was old man's age, like the 70 to 85 year old demographic. So, hey, old people rocking with the old people.
So you're trying to say that
elderly people. Sorry, I'm being an asshole now. Sorry, elderly.
Are you trying to say that Keith and I did a good job on that one for you?
No, not that. That was the stream. That was the stream. And how about the video? I made a video before that.
Oh, you made earlier. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I made it a point. The reason why I did that video is I made it a point to point out all the similarities to Star Trek, because I don't think anyone else has ever done that. So I actually wanted to show all the familiarities with like franchise or, you know, science fiction, you know, fantasy that came out after that it was directly inspired. That directly inspired. I wanted to do that. Heck, it even inspired Halloween to a certain degree, because John Carpenter's a big fan of that movie too. Mm-hmm. But then I did a Zelda N64 Zelda retrospective, and that was like a 5-hour one. So
wow,
I released that in 3 parts initially, because it was just, I mean, each part was like an hour and a half, 40 minutes. So it's a very lot of editing. So I put it all together and I released it, and it was usual. It performed better than usual. For me, if it gets over 100 views, I consider it successful. That's kind of that's where I'm at. I'm not like, you know, bigger channels where they get like 10K within like a day. If I'm lucky, I get like maybe 100 or 50. So that one went up a little bit, but then all of a sudden, sometime last week, all of a sudden, I looked at the analytics and just went zoop, and I started getting more. I started like subscribers just kept coming on. I was getting a bunch of comments saying, "Wow, this is so detailed. Thank you so much. I've been listening to this in the background because of, you know, the soothing sound of my voice. I've heard that quite a bit. The soothing sound of my voice is why people listen to in the background, or even people have told me they've fallen asleep to my voice. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awkward, but you know what? You'd be surprised. I'm not. Somebody says something, never surprised. You're online. You're gonna encounter a lot of people. So,
you know, it's talking about science fiction from way back. putting together something for me was really modern age. Look at the old Flash Gordon.
Oh yeah, Buster Crabbe. I actually saw those. I actually, I asked begged my folks to buy them on VHS because they were releasing them. They released the entire serials. There were 3 serials. I think there was Flash Gordon 36, Flash
There's
Gordon Goes to
Captain
Mars,
Crunch.
38,
There's Frosted Flakes. There's
and then there's Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe, which was the final one. So yeah. And I watched all those. I was surprised. I was surprised because I didn't even know this, but how equivalent it was to Star Wars, especially the third one, Conquer the Universe. Had a rolling crawl, just like Star Wars.
Look at some of the sci-fi pictures we had when I was young. Oh, we had the Blob. How about the ants that are taking over the giant ants that are taking over the world?
Them
or the scorpions or the spiders.
Scorpions, they weren't rocking like a hurricane. They weren't rocking like a hurricane back then.
Oh, yeah, I mean those old movies from those old monster movies really were like the big thing in the 30s and 40s. I mean, after stuff like King Kong, we kind of got a bit of a resurgence of it. We got a bit of a resurgence with seeing when we first saw Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh, original Honda Ichiro Honda Godzilla is a masterpiece. Like,
yes, it is.
Now the rest of them, I mean, the rest of them are campy and not meant to be taken seriously. But that first movie was great science fiction. Like there was like, you had the scientists, and there was like a conflict of whether or not to to keep this weapon, because this weapon can just melt anybody. So instead of
destroyer,
yes, and so they killed the original Godzilla, but then apparently Godzilla had a brother, and that's the Godzilla that's in the rest of the saga, I believe, in the rest of a
lot of this stuff always started back in, guess what? Terror of what the nuclear bombs would do.
Yes,
and all the mutations that were going to occur.
Just that fear is
it's
driven
really,
a lot of stories.
Yes, exactly. How things in life can actually draw upon and create stories like that. I mean, again, it was obviously the dangers of atomic weaponry and the dangers of it. But same thing is anything in life can often like lead to a lot of creative endeavors.
Yeah, and I hope one day it'll be like that again. Because it seems like people are not able to create what they want. They have to.
You hope one day we use nukes again?
Hopefully one day. Hopefully one day, creators will be able to create whatever they want. They won't have to, check boxes or put things in.
The thing is, anyone who says they have to check boxes, seriously, that deserves a massive slap in the face.
Yeah.
From me, because I'd rather be writing a story because. That's the whole point. The whole point is to truly be creative. Look, I can understand that some people may find certain subject matter sometimes it can be less able to talk about, but if you're doing it for the sake of creativeness and doing it for the sake of a story, not for the sake of, just shocking or grossing out your audience or getting any type of reaction from your audience, that's not the way to go.
I agree.
Best stories are told when you actually try to actually tell it in a more good and more narrative sense. Like how does such things like this actually affect the person in question?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to writing a story, I mean, to me, I mean, it could be different for every author. Every author writes differently, but when you read a book, you're basically reading an aspect of that writer. So like in my case right now, I'm reading The Wheel of Time. It's a fantasy series. Amazon recently made a show, and
I heard you're a big fan of that show.
And a few other, and I've been watching live on Prophet of the Dragon's channel, watching that episode since I finished the first book, and the first season is supposed to cover the first book. Well, that show, I watched 3 episodes so far. I had plenty to drink. I had plenty of whiskey to drink, and I reverted back to
We got Drunk
Oriole.
Yeah,
and I don't think I ever swore so much during a stream than I did. So my usual wholesome self was not wholesome during those watches. We did 2 of them, covered the first 3 episodes. They left out very important segments from the first book, like very important segments, very important chapters that were to build the main character. So what they're doing with this new series is they basically said we're not going to have the main character which was a young man.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's going to be the girl, the female lead, and the wizard and the female wizard Moraine, who was not a main character. She was basically like Gandalf.
Yes.
She was not in every chapter. And you didn't really know what she was thinking too much. Well, I'm in the second book, and now chapters are from her point of view as well. But I'm reading the books, and Robert Jordan is a really great author. He has done tremendous world building. He has done tremendous character work on all characters. There's a lot of there's chemistry between the characters in every book. They all have unique relationships with each other. And what I saw on that show is worse, in my opinion, than Rings of Power. Like Rings of Power had no source material to adapt. So I can kind of
what they're doing to Willow right now.
And Willow it doesn't have source material either. It's just a sequel to a movie that came out 34 years ago. Wheel of Time has no excuse. There's 14 books. 11 of them were written by Robert Jordan. He passed away before he could finish the series. So within the last year and a half of his life, he scrambled to basically write an outline of every major event that would lead to the end. And then, of course, he passes away. And then, because his wife Harriet McDougal was also his editor, she made sure that his work would continue. And they hired Brandon Sanderson, who is also known for a lot of fantasy books. He writes like a book every year, and these books are really thick, like this thick. So, so they hired him to do it, and he finished the series because Jordan wanted his story to be told even after his death. It's a shame that he wasn't able to finish it, but take care. It was a shame that he wasn't able to finish it, but he still managed to, him and his wife managed to make it happen. Now, I can't speak the same about another writer, fantasy writer, who is, too distracted by making all these HBO shows that 11 years down the line, he's only 75% done with his book 6. So, and he says, I don't care if I pass away and don't finish the story. Dickens didn't finish his life's work. Tolkien didn't finish the Silmarillion, his life's work. Hemingway didn't finish his life's work. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Seriously.
Well,
you're such an ass.
Well, the Silmarillion is a different situation. He can't even compare to the Silmarillion.
Exactly.
That was just something that, actually he started writing before even The Hobbit. It was incorporated into the Middle Earth, and it was basically his notes as he's going along.
Yeah.
And Christopher Tolkien was good enough to finish it. So again, Christopher Tolkien finished it just like you were saying about the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And and that's just it. That brings back the memories. And of course, my segment about why we fight is because a lot of these memories we have is when we sit down and open up a book. It's like, wow, this thing is freaking fantastic. Or sometimes it's like, what the hell is this piece of garbage? But
I agree.
I mean, when you sit down and you read the Foundation series for the first time with Asimov, or as I like to sit back and say, the perfect primer to introduce somebody to science fiction in prose form would be I, Robot. I always thought, if somebody's saying, "What's this science fiction all about?" It's like, well, read this book. Read this I, Robot. Maybe that will, don't try Martian Chronicles. Definitely don't try Stranger in a Strange Land. Because I knew somebody who sat back and said, yeah, I tried reading science fiction. I tried to start reading Stranger in a Strange Land, and I just didn't get it. It's like, buddy, you picked the wrong one, because even people in science fiction don't get it sometimes. So
I feel like a stranger in a strange land right now. Baron, Mike, I like you very much, but I am not the hell you're tutorial.
Wow.
Okay.
That. Ooh, wow. Ow.
Do you like Italian? I like Italian, and so do you guys.
Mike, that deserves a clip.
Yes, it
I'm sure
does.
he's looking for it. He's looking
But
for it.
do I have the appropriate one?
You can't clip that. That didn't happen. It's misinformation.
Well, I think anything we can get out of Brian's mouth there, I think this would be proper.
Very interesting, but stupid.
Very interesting,
but
inspiring.
Inspiring. He's our He's our motivational speaker here. He's up there on stage, motivating all that.
You know that Chicago song, "You're My Inspiration." It's about me.
Oh,
You're
really?
my inspiration.
Careful, you might get shot. Sorry.
Whoa.
We're talking about Chicago.
Whoa. That's not very modern of you to say.
Well, modern Chicago.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah,
yes.
There we go. But yeah,
Emotional damage.
You got that right, folks.
Okay.
I mean, leading and jumping off of what Gap said a lot earlier in the stream, he was saying about one of his memories. It was a convention, I suppose, for a lot of us, that were going to conventions at one time, brings wild memories. When back 1989. Yeah, 1989, they had like MadCon 5 in Madison, Wisconsin. And the list of people that were there was Peter David. He was there. So was Stephen Furst from Babylon 5. You had Neil Gaiman.
Oh, boy, is this great, Stephen Furst.
Yeah.
My advice to you, Flounder, start drinking heavily.
Yep, there we go. And Harlan Ellison.
Star Trek is about what did he say? Star Trek is about space police. That's what he said. I was watching Tom Snyder. He was 1975 Tom Snyder interview. It was him and DeForest Kelley, James Doohan, Walter Koenig. The four of them, and he was going about saying how Star Trek, because he still was pretty salty about his episode being rewritten, but that's how Roddenberry was.
Yeah.
That's how he ran Star Trek. He rewrote the shit out of almost every episode, especially in the first season. That's why, reason why he's called Khan, reason why Ricardo Montalban's character is called Khan instead of Erickson is because of Mr. Roddenberry. So he rewrote the crap out of the episodes just to make them tighter and more consistent. And that's why really good.
And even DC Fontana. Fontana was, in fact, she was kind of instrumental in rewriting some of that episode.
I really wish TV writers were like that now. Like it's so ridiculous. Like it seems like they release like one or two drafts and then they release it to production and then they make it and then fans are like, what the fuck is? Excuse my language. What the hell is this? And then of course you get they have their little lackeys in their California-based media companies. They're journalists. They're nerdy video game journalists. Sticking up for the shitty creators and everything. And they're just saying, "Oh, it's the fans' fault." Okay, you're not gonna. I mean, what do you think is gonna happen? More people are gonna buy your stuff.
We've gotten too much.
Your
and
investors.
The story at that con, which is some of the greatest stories. These are people he met personally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so we're at this convention. It was my former wife and a friend of ours, and she was a big Harlan Ellison fan. And we go in and do the registration and such, and there's Harlan in the corner kibitzing and getting all set up because he always wrote at the convention short stories and such like that. And it's like, oh, okay, that's neat. Watch a little bit of that. We walk out of the registration room. We're going down the hallway there to the main atrium, and my former wife goes, "Man, I'm thirsty." Or boy, am I thirsty. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, came a hand, went on her shoulder. And kind of turning her around, another hand comes out with a bottle of water, goes, "Ask and ye shall receive." It was Harlan Ellison. And he's walking out the door, he's looking back. "Hey, don't worry, I don't have trench mouth."
Trench mouth.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well, what about the GABA?
Oh, the guava paste. Well, they had a feast there. They had a dinner where you could sit at the table, and actually the the former Mrs. and I, we could pick any table we want because we're so early. At first, we were thinking about going to Harlan's table, but we decided to go and we sat with Timothy Zahn. So I'm sitting next to Timothy Zahn at this dinner table. And it's a good thing because Harlan Ellison is spending most of his time just running around being Harlan. And he's introducing everybody to guava paste. You got to try this. It's wonderful. It's guava paste. Well, you have equal parts guava and equal parts cream cheese. Here, give it a try. Give it a try.
Guava paste.
Guava. Mm-hmm. So he's going around, and so we're all snickering over at our table, and we're doing the sort of. Actually, this is actually written about this incident. I don't know how much of it is, but I know the incident is written in the book by Peter David about. I believe it's titled "Mr. Sulu Grabbed My Ass" or "Touched My Ass" is I think the name of the book, and there's a chapter devoted to actually this entire situation. So I got to get that book, but he's going around being Harlan.
Was the 80s? This was the 80s?
No, 90s, 1999. It was 19.
This was, I remember, I think it was 2004, 2005 when Tagge, came out.
Right. But the book was written not too long ago. But Peter David was at this event, and he wrote about this event, which was in 1989.
Oh.
The name of the book that he wrote was Mr. Sewell Grabbed My Ass. But it's all about a retrospective over a period of time. And one of the times he was talking about was this convention in 89 or 98. 98. Yeah, I love dyslexia. So, but he's going around to all the tables, and we're sitting back going, "Oh, Soylent Green, and all that." And then Peter David, they must have heard us because we're kind of raucous at our table, and all of a sudden Peter David goes through the whole Soylent Green is people, Soylent Green is he's being pulled off the door. But he comes over we're going to Timothy Zahn. We said, Timothy Zahn, when he comes to you, just say, "Oh, yeah, it tastes like chicken." So we're telling tell Harlan, it tastes like chicken. And so we're egging him on to do that. He comes to the table. Timothy tries it. It's good. And Harlan goes, yeah, great. Goes off to the other table. We turned on Timothy Zahn like yesterday's burrito. It's like, come on, why did you do that? He goes, you don't understand. Harlan Ellison was right there with a knife. Which my response back was, no, Harlan Ellison was there with two knives because he had one for the guava paste and one for the cream cheese. And that was the dinner table that we had on that one. But yeah, he was all over the place, and it was interesting. It was very interesting.
That's cool.
Very nice. Well, one of the stories here, this is a combination of things, so it's not just one story. It's just many of the times that my dad and I would either go to an air show or we would go fishing together, even going to Star Trek conventions together. Now, he wasn't a Trekkie, but he tolerated Star Trek because I liked it. But anytime he and I, went on a fishing trip, we always had fun. But there was one time we went out fishing outside of Oceanside, California. And it was myself, my dad, and a neighbor of ours. So we go out fishing. Of course, my dad always liked to get up at the butt crack of dawn to go fishing. And I knew this, and I still went. So, the day starts. They're catching fish left and right. Here I am, holding the rod, no fish on the line. So at one point, as we're, fishing, we're out on my dad's boat. I end up falling asleep. Well, while I'm sleeping, a fish gets on my line. And our neighbor says, "Hey, Bart, you think we should wake Mike up?" "Nah, let him sleep. It might still be there by the time he wakes up." Well, maybe a few minutes later, I wake up and my dad says, "Before you do anything, you might want to check your line." And I'm looking over at my line. I'm seeing that the rod's bending. I'm thinking, I got a fish on the line. So I start reeling it in, and it's a big fish. And my dad says, "You want help?" I said, "No." And I keep reeling it in. By the time we get it up to the boat, we can actually see what kind it is, and it was a Spanish mackerel. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning reeling it in because this relates to another time we went out fishing with the same friend. Only this time we were going out mackerel shark fishing. And I'd never been mackerel shark fishing with my dad before. My dad had gone out with the same friend and another neighbor of ours to go mackerel shark fishing. And after they caught the shark, they would fillet it and we would have mackerel shark steaks for dinner. Well, this was the first time I went with my dad. So we get the mackerel shark on the line and I start reeling it in. And my dad says, "You want me to take over?" Because he sees that I'm starting to get tired. I said, "No, I've got this." So I'm reeling it in. Said to him, I said, "Just get ready to do what you need to do to the shark." And what my dad did is he pulled out his gun and he would shoot the shark once it came to the surface. And we pulled it close enough in. And my dad's all, "Nice job, Mickle Moose." Sometimes he called me Tiger. Sometimes he called me Mickle Moose. But it was anytime I went fishing with my dad, anytime we went to an air show, I mean, seeing those old warbirds there at the air show and seeing the Blue Angels and just being able to spend time with my dad and those are memories I'll treasure. I mean, one of the times I was out with my dad and we had this train that would go by. And it would go by our neighborhood 3 days a week, in the morning and in the evening. Well, there was one day where I went into our local video store and the engineer of the train walked into the video store. And we got to talking to him. And I'm around 7, 8 years old. So I'm really into trains at this point. And it's just not the little train sets that you get, where you go to the hobby store and pick up the different H2s and so forth. So we're talking and, I'm asking him all sorts of questions. How long does it take you to get from Oceanside, where the train depot was, all the way here to San Marcos? He says, "It takes a good while because we have a certain speed that we're supposed to cruise at and we can't exceed that speed." So, long story short, the next time he comes through, he actually lets me come onto the train and check it out. And actually watch him as he works. And I'm thinking, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be awesome. We used to have those old Lionel metal train cars, know, and I wish my dad had kept those. He gave them away because they don't make any good train sets these days.
I have my Lionel set from the 1950s.
What?
I also have my dad's Lionel set from the 1930s.
Wow, you should show that on stream one day.
I'd have to dig them out.
Yeah.
But no, I got my dad's Lionel set from the 1930s. And then, of course, mine from the 1950s, which, I dearly love and like. But like a lot of childhood toys, as much as you love them, they kind of get stuck back in a corner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And, another reason why I bring up the train is because when I was 6 years old, I had to have surgery on the back of my legs, both legs.
Ooh.
To try to straighten out some of the muscles and some of the bones because, again, being born with cerebral palsy.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything formed the way it should have, so had to have corrective surgery. So one of the things that my dad did is he took all of his old trains and some that belonged to my grandfather and great grandfather and built this train set. So when I was getting stronger with my legs, I could go out to the patio and play with the trains. And my dad had some of the nicest trains. I mean, you want to talk about trains that you wouldn't even find in stores nowadays. He had some of them. I wish he kept those trains when we moved, but unfortunately, he didn't have any room for them, so he sold them.
Yeah, and they were made out of real metal.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
They were heavy.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh yeah. I got a toy from when I was a kid. And I was quite little. This was way back. This one goes back to the early 50s. And it was a truck that had a fifth wheel on it, and that was a lowboy. You could put stuff up on it. And I played with that thing you can't believe how much I played with it. It was looking pretty doggone tough. And then one year, I couldn't find it anymore. Oh, it's around here someplace. It's got to be. Yeah. No, it's gone. Who threw it away? Nobody say anything. Then on Christmas Eve, we'd go downstairs in the house we were living in. My grandparents lived in a full apartment underneath the house that we're in. And we'd go down to their place for Christmas. There was the Christmas tree and everything else. The front doorbell rang. Oh boy, what's that? Well, you better check that out. I run upstairs and there's a cardboard box all wrapped up. It's got my name on it. I bring that in. I set it down and go, what's in it? I rip it open. I pull out. There's that truck and that lowboy, all repainted, looking like brand new.
Very nice.
I practically broke out crying. Wow. Seeing it and everything else. My grandfather had taken it into work, where he was a big shot at a certain bus lines. It's got some kind of a stupid dog on it. And he came back painted in the colors from their shop. And I still have it to this day. And it's still one of the fondest memories I've got. Actually had this toy that I loved. And I played with it for many, many years after that. I've got stuff that I got. Oh, here's one. I got a Roy Rogers town, metal town. It's got all the different stores in it and everything else. Along with it came a set where you had little furniture that you could put in all the things in the bar and everything. Along with it came the figures. And you got the horses that you could put saddles on them. And the cowboys that you could put gun belts on them and guns and rifles. And this all stuff, the rifle was probably about that long. The pistols were just little tiny things. Because the figures themselves were only about this high. And I still have all of that. And
wow.
I don't know how much it's worth. I don't give a shit. It was from a very special time in my youth. And I still got it.
That's awesome. I would love to see that. I've been trying to get a hold of the old, some of the old Roy Rogers stuff and Zorro and some of the old Western stuff. And it's just too expensive. But boy, did they make some good toys back in the day.
This is a pretty rare one because I've been around on the net and nobody even talks about it. And those that do talk about it say they're looking for one. And I'm going, F you, I got mine, you can't have
it. And you remind me, old man, of the Tonka trucks that they used to make out of metal.
Yes.
I used to, oh my God. I was like you. I wore them out. I mean, I used to have so much damn fun with the cranes and the dump trucks, and you know, my mom would let me stay outside, you know, just below the porch where she could watch me, and I would play with that stuff for hours on end. That you just brought up another fond memory was the Tonka trucks. But I wish I still had those though, because
And
they're
they were made
plastic.
just down the road from where I live.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they're made in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
Wow.
That's why they're called Tonka. And Prince's place, that stupid Paisley Palace thing,
Yeah.
well, that's just down the road from me too.
Oh wow.
And when he died, oh, Minnesota Highway 5, a major thoroughfare, was tied up in a mess. People had their cars parked all over there, throwing shit all over the fence and all that's there. And finally, somebody got a hold of it and put up barricades and everything else so you could be behind that line, but don't you go on the other side of it, or else.
Yeah, I mean, I remember because I think some of my Tonka trucks are still over at your place that I had, and I rescued one out of the garbage about 10 years or so. Someone threw one away at my work. It's like,
really?
This is a metal Tonka toy. So I took it. I went the dumpster diving for it. But that reminds me, Tonka toys actually was my first introduction to Hammer horror. To be honest to you, right?
Okay. Tie that together.
So, well, yeah. So occasionally they would have these things where they wanted to test the new toys out, right? And see what the kids' reaction would be. And somehow I got invited along. So we went over to Tonka.
Thanks for being by.
Oh, he's got take care.
All right. Thank you, Orman.
So I go down there and what they did was we watched like the first half of what was it? It was one of Peter Cushing Frankenstein film where he's actually Frankenstein. I can't mental block on the name of the movie actually. And so we watched the first half of that. Then they took a break. They introduced us to all these toys that they had, and so we gave our whatever. Then we watched the rest of that film. So that was my first introduction to it. And take it, Brian. And they even gave us like a little game, some football tabletop game for participating in there. So that was my first introduction to Hammer Horror, was because of Tonka toys.
Wow.
It might not have been the best film to show a bunch of kids, but we were a bunch of boys, and it's like, oh, it's it's like monster film, blah blah blah.
But yeah, you know what? Now I'm gonna be going to searching for some Tonka trucks. Oh man, wow, used to be for hours and hours playing with those things.
They made the greatest stuff. They really did.
Now it's plastic garbage. I mean,
plastic. At least
And I've got
rust.
I've got a toy tow truck and a toy dump truck, and they're about this big, but they're heavier than all get out because they're all cast metal.
Wow!
Not anything. This stuff is cast, and we put a piece of tape across the windshield opening on one of them because it was so rough. I'd reach in there and I'd cut my fingers on it. But the cast iron material, it was about this thick. And the thing weighed a ton. It was a lethal weapon. Just drop it on someone's foot.
That cast iron metal reminds me of the warplanes. My grandpa had die cast and got me interested in planes and Eastern Airlines. Remember Eastern Airlines? I used to have a big metal Eastern Airline airplane, and I thought that was the bomb. And then
You know, I tell all the other kids, I said, look at my grandpa's, you know, toys and stuff. I said, these are made to last, you know, but they were more interested in their new plastic toys. But I was like, I thought I was hot crap, because I was like, look, I got my planes, I got my Eastern Airline truck, I've got, and then when we used to travel across the country, because my grandpa was a truck driver and I'd go with him sometimes, we'd stop at Stuckey's USA.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Stuckey's.
Oh, you bet.
Yep, and get a pecan log, a pop drink, and a metal tractor trailer truck toy. And wow, yeah,
And you
that's
always
cool.
knew where Stuckey's was, miles away by the roof.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I mean, it's got to the point where one time Gramps, he went past one Stuckey, and I'm like, he was like, "Why are you upset now?" I said, "You just passed Stuckey's." We can't stop at every damn one. I got to get to, I got to drop the load off. But he said, on the way back, we'll stop at and I'll be damned, every last Stuckey's when he dropped the load off from the truck, we stopped at every freaking one, and then got to the last one. He goes, "Are you happy now?"
Yeah.
I said, yes, because I got some tractor trailer toys out of it, and I got a lot of candy and pop. I said, yes, sir. I'm happy, Gramps. I said, yes. Wow, Stuckey's. And there's one down about 8 miles from me. You can tell it used to be a Stuckey's, but those things used to be the bomb. You'd have to stop at those. And those stuff like, you know, Speedy Gonzales, Truck Stop, and Game World, or you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like those places where they'd have all the toys and stuff, and
yes,
that racing cars and stuff at the state lines and stuff in certain states. You know, I can't remember the one between near Texarkana, but you know, like Guido's, you know, Funland and Play Stop, and then there was a truck stop next to it, and you know, wow. Yeah, Eastern Airlines. Oh my gosh, and TWA.
Oh, yeah.
Those were my planes. I was like, ooh.
That's World Airlines.
Yeah. And now
And
it's
then you
CGI
had,
Airlines.
Yeah, Northwest Orient Airlines.
Yep.
Bong.
Yep.
The only way to fly.
Northwest Orient Airlines. Yep.
And I know they were called stewardesses before, you know.
Oh, you bet.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a mistake, you know, when they started changing vernacular. I'm like, well, where's the stewardess? And they're like, it's a flight attendant. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just used to, and the old car ads and the old airline ads, that makes my mind go off on other things. I used to like to collect Life magazines, and with the old, and then the old car, like what was the car? Is Comet? It was a Comet. Wasn't there a car called a Comet?
Yeah. Mercury Comet.
Yes, my grandpa had one. Oh my God. Those things, he was like, look, when you get your age, you probably won't have anything like this because they're going to cheap metal. But he says, I'll be damned, I could ride this thing through a brick wall and keep on going.
Yeah, and then the other part about the Comet was on the floorboards on each side, there was a little box down there. You could reach down there, turn the little lever, open the door up, and you could have hot air blasting right on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the steering wheel was made out of stuff that would give you a concussion. And they were so big.
In 1956, Ford came out with something revolutionary new, and it was called the lifeguard system. And on there, the big change was you got this wraparound steering wheel, windshield. Before that, they're all flat, straight glass. This one curved around. Then, this is over the 55 model now. Then the other change they made on it was you got a steering wheel that was cone-shaped. It was crushable in an accident. You had lifeguard door locks that prevented the doors from flying open in an accident. And, oh yes, I'm not kidding you one bit. They had a padded dash and visors. made out of a
Mhm.
special material pad, and you can actually take that material out, drop a raw egg from a 2-story building down on it, it would bounce and the egg would be perfect.
Wow.
Then the third thing, and the last big thing was they had a seat belt. Yes. Just like you had on the airlines. You put it around, cook it together, you pull it like this to open it up.
Mhm.
But anyway, a lot of that stuff, the padded dash and the seat belts, were optional. Nobody wanted them.
My
The
gramps
collapsible,
it had. I'm sorry, old man.
the collapsible steering wheel, the left door locks, they were all standard in every car. But the seat belts and the padded dash. And think that was that far ahead. How many years later? Oh, you got to have that. It's mandatory now. You got to.
Yeah, my grandpa had it all the way. And what was the name of the car that had like? It only had from like 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and then 9 to, or you know what I mean? It was a split steering wheel.
Oh,
I remember it was my grandpa or it was my uncle had a car like that. And oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It was a split steering wheel. Almost like a back.
That was Chrysler?
I think it was a Chrysler.
Might have been. Sounds like something it would have done.
You know what I mean? Where you only had 2 pieces of the pie, the right side and the left side, and the top and the bottom would be gone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Chrysler Corporation also did something else. You didn't have a shift lever here no more.
Yeah.
Dash, you had this little panel. And you reach over there and punch it. They used to call it the typewriter transmission.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I don't think there's any ingenuity or creativity in cars or anything today, matter of fact. I mean...
Well, but they're all looking the same, you know?
I was going to say, it doesn't matter if it's Toyota, Ford, Honda, Hyundai,
Lexus.
Kia, Lexus, Chevy, GMC, they're all starting to look exactly the same.
And
there's no creativity, even in the automobile industry.
When Ford came out with cars, a whole new look and appearance to it, everybody was nuts over there buying Tauruses left and right.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, every car was trying to look like a Taurus.
Yep.
No originality. They couldn't come up with anything original on their own. They had to copy somebody else. Disgusting.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's why I like looking at old video and old pictures from different eras in time, because you can tell that it's from a particular era. You look at a car from 30 years ago, it's a car from 30 years ago. It doesn't matter who made it. They all had their own unique touch to it. You can tell it was a car from 30 years ago. Music.
Yeah.
You could tell music by what decade it was recorded in. So you heard a song from the 60s, you could tell. Same with the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s. Now, it all sounds the same to me. It all sounds generic.
Generic and auto-tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Everything's generic. And just a little more on the cars. Ford Mercury, remember those cars?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the Duster and the Nova. Oh, my God. I don't know why I went nuts over the Duster and the Ford Mercury cars and the Nova. I don't know why I like that damn Chevy Nova. We used to have a blue one. It was just, I don't know. It was kick butt.
It was a terrible thing because those of us that weren't into GM, we used to sit back and laugh and go, "It's a Nova, kaboom!"
Well, yeah, that's true, and that's like the Ford Pinto. I actually drove one of those, and they used to call it they used to call it the Orange Bullet. It was painted orange, and I was a record store manager.
Rapper orange.
Yeah, and I used to come to the record store, and the muffler, was. And then, of course, I had to bring jugs of oil and water with me because they were like, "Here he comes to open the store," because they could hear me and smell the car coming down the hill.
One of the funniest things around, that people don't understand is that when the Pinto first came out, they had a 1600cc engine from Kent, England. And they mated it up with a Dagenham transmission, also from England. These things were absolutely rock hard tough, like you can't believe. The big part of it was that engine is the same thing that they were putting into a Lotus. But it had been all doctored down and da-di-da. But if you knew how, you could go over to England, order the parts, get them back, and turn your Pinto into a Lotus. And people did. Oh,
Wow.
man. You'd be sitting there driving along, and you hear this thing come up from a side street or whatever, and you're thinking, well, 3 car lengths, that was by you. They were just a rocket. Scared the shit out of you.
What was that car that had the hatchback, or the one? It wasn't the Pinto, was it? Or another car where they, people would run into it and it would explode.
Well, yeah, they were saying that was the Pinto. The gas tank being down there like that. But what's actually really funny, if you look at the statistics, Ford sold like 8 or 9 Pintos for every Corvair that was sold. Now here comes a really big problem. Okay, you ran into them and that made all the news. But more Corvairs were run into from behind and burned than were their Pintos by percentage number. So you had greater risk in the Corvair than you were in the Pinto. Now, I didn't like the Pinto. I still think the same thing. So, yeah. I mean, Vega. I'm sorry, not the Corvair.
Yeah, the Padawanabe said it was the Pacer. Remember the Pacer? Oh my God!
I worked on it.
Yeah.
The right door was bigger than the other one, so you could get in easier.
Yeah, and wow, Padawanabe, his buddy had. Oh, he said he had a 4-door 64 Nova, and then a 76 Nova. Wow. My mom hated. My mom had the Pacer from Wayne's World.
A best friend of mine since we were 15. He calls me up and he says he just got this great deal on buying a Nova. Oh, really? But it runs like crap. You can't go anywhere. Can you look at it? Okay. I get over there and he fires the thing up and it's running, listening to it. And he says, yeah, they sold it because it's running like crap, but you're a mechanic. You should be able to fix this. I looked at him and go, let's see what I can do. I reached down and took the wing nut loose on the air cleaner. And as I pulled it up, the engine speed stepped up, smoothed out.
Smooth out, yeah.
I pulled the air cleaner out of there. I held it up. Can you see any light through there? No. Well, you're supposed to be able to. This is opaque. It ain't even opaque. This is solid. I couldn't even believe the car could run.
Oh my God. Wow.
Because he thought there was something major wrong with it. All it needed was an air filter.
Oh my God, wing nuts on the air filter. Remember I remember with my dad, that's another memory, be the wing nut and you just twist it off and you just get you a round Fram filter and stick it in there and screw it back on and go your merry way. Now it's like it's like playing the game of operation in an engine today because you got to be careful if you don't touch this or, I had to get special engine coolant for this -15 we had a few days ago. I mean, we didn't even have to worry about that crap before. And the air filter, hell, I don't even know where it is. You know what I mean?
And then way back, Ford had their own coolant used in their car. GM had theirs. And you can't mix the two of them. So somebody was going, the same with the transmission fluid. And a guy I knew real well had his Chevy, and he says the transmission is slipping. And I said, I know how to take care of that. What? He said, instead of putting some Dextron in there, let me pour a little of this. You're putting Ford Motor Company? Yeah, don't worry about it. it got in there, and the one thing that happened was Ford transmission fluid got in contact with the General Motors transmission that ran on Dextron. It swelled all of the seals. Everything. If you put in just the right amount, it was a transmission overhaul right there.
Yeah, and now you can't do that. You can't do those tricks anymore.
You can't even find the dipstick.
Yeah, it'll ruin the car. The lady was like, no, you got to have this 50-50 premix and it's a foreign car and blah, blah, blah. I mean, man, my brother's working on a 54 Ford truck for me.
Ooh.
Yeah, he likes to rebuild cars and stuff like that and trucks. And
that was a nice truck. I liked it.
Yeah, and I can't wait till he gets finished with it. And then he's worked on so many, and then he's got one I really want. It looks just like the Trans Am Burt Reynolds had in Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. I want that one. I was like, oh God, I want that one.
Well, he's got the Trans Am then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has the Trans Am.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that he's wanting is,
Yeah. And it looks just like the one in the movies.
One of the things with the going back to the Pacer, that door was so heavy out there. And I'm not kidding you, that door was a ton. The bushings on the hinge would wear out. Well, you'd get the door open, you'd support it, you go in there and you drive the pins out, pound in new bushings, then pound the pins back in, and close it up. It was perfect again. The number of people that thought the car was junk and they couldn't do anything and would get rid of it because the door was falling off. It's just the bushings are worn out. Just replace them.
Yeah. Now, the worst car I've ever had that I have plenty of not fond memories, but I laugh now, is the Dodge Neon.
Oh.
Oh my God. And it was purple. It was purple, y'all.
The Neon is 9.
Yeah.
I thought it was the coolest thing. My dad kept on shaking his head. He's like, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy. And then I had that I told you moment with my dad. I told you. And it was purple.
Real quick, I want to say hello to DJ Ronnie G. And, we're talking about.
Yeah, we're sorry we're blocking you out there, DJ.
No worries. I knew you'd squeeze me in at some point, and it was, you guys have good insight, especially you, old man. So, of course, I didn't want to disrupt that flow.
How did this guy get in here? How did that guy get in here?
I broke in. I mean,
oh, good.
Good.
Yeah,
he's better looking than me, and he's got a better.
Got the right answer. Yeah.
Nobody sent me
great
a
answer.
link.
Great answer. He came in through the back door.
I don't even know what this what is this? A TV with a typewriter on it? What's going on here?
Welcome to Tron.
We're talking about cars, and I could tell you a story about a Subaru station wagon that my family had at one point, and my dad hated that piece of shit. That's exactly what he called it, a piece of shit. From the moment this was back in '86. I don't know if you would have liked Subaru that much.
They're a pain in the butt to maintain, I hear.
Yeah.
The Subaru, way back, came out with the 360. And they were cheap. They were nothing. We went down and we looked at one, thinking, this might be interesting. I took a ride in that thing, and it's going, my God, this is a death trap. Well, right after that, Subaru pulled out of America. And all those cars that were here, they were buying them, and they were racing them on the river bottoms and on the lake in winter on frozen.
Mm-hmm.
As a demo derby. And you could go down there and you'd see parts of the old original Subarus laying all over the place. They were destroying them left and right. Oh, and then another part, serious, on the Subaru, do not ever get the 6-cylinder Subaru vehicle. That engine is the worst nightmare you've ever seen in your life. It is nothing but a pain. Everybody that's got one, they've had major engine problems, you name it. The 4-cylinder is the one that's the good one.
So, Mike, what happened with your Subaru thing?
Oh, one repair job after another. There was one time my parents went to pick it up after they called and said it was ready. My dad gets in the driver's seat and he's all, "What are these screws still doing out here? These screws are supposed to be in the car."
Not a good sign, right there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my dad had a hell of a time with the dealership, and even at one point, taking it down to San Diego, the engine went out, and it's like, really? And my mom just looked at my dad and said, "It's time to get rid of this piece of shit."
Oh my god, funny one. I was looking at some old pictures. In fact, I might have it, and I was looking at a random greeting card that my mom had, and it was like basically like the front of it was a postcard about it was a comic book strip from the newspaper, and it was basically about saying goodbye to an old love or something, like saying goodbye to a relationship that's no longer working out, or saying goodbye to like a relationship that's no longer benefiting you. It's like a guy in a comic strip with his busted up car, like a car that he loved, but like it was a piece of junk. So this was like, and then my mom had like a little note about the Volare, because my dad, in fact, she put a little arrow pointing at the piece of crap car from the comic strip, or the newspaper cartoon, and it said the Volare. And my dad used to have a car called a Volare, and I guess that must have been part of the story of how he got rid of it.
Volare.
They use that song.
Volare. Sorry.
I think about Quantum Leap when I hear that song.
Actually, a kind of funny story. Jonathan Frakes would walk onto the set of Next Generation singing Volare. And someone found a Volare and took the name badge off of it and put it on his uniform.
Oh, no.
How about this, y'all? I had it. 1970 Chevelle SS454.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I still have it. And I used to have a little... Oh, God, what was the name of it? It was an Isuzu car. It was used in the movie Mission to Mars. Oh, God. What was it called? Oh, I can't think of it. Let me look it up.
Okay.
Joe Isuzu.
You remember those commercials?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I remember those.
They had on those 454s in like the smaller cars like he's talking about. They actually had a frame under it. And the guys at the drag strip used to run those things. Anyhow, the frame would actually bend where one wheel would, instead of the wheels being like this, it'd be like this. It actually bent that direction. And they loved it because when they got to the drag strip, they would always line the car up off of one wheel. It was always on the one that was behind. So the other wheel was ahead, and it gave them a better hole shot on the drag strip. I'm old enough to remember those days.
It was an Isuzu V-Cross, and it looked like a miniature SUV, and it was black with red interior. I used to have that. Was my favorite car I ever had, but it got totaled.
Do you have the picture? Because I can share it, because I wonder if it's the same one that some neighbors of mine had.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'll have to find it again.
Okay.
There was always this Suzuki Samurai went from 0 to 180 in 2 seconds.
Off a cliff.
No, they were notorious for being so top heavy. They always flipped over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they first came out with the, I think Nissan has it, the Armada.
I think so, yeah.
And they were, the first ones that they came out with were treacherous. Because if you were in certain weather conditions driving them and you made a turn, they'd roll over and play dead. And I was driving home one time from another town through they call it the Y. And I come out of there, and then 101 is going north. And here's this Armada laying on its side. And I looked at it and I go, I didn't know the British were here. Sorry, bad joke, but that's my.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
I put it in the private chat, and Mike is the black one.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
All right. I'll pull it up here. Hopefully I selected the right one.
Right.
I'll find out here in a second.
I don't think I ever remember seeing any of these vehicles.
I do.
They only made a certain amount of them. And I don't even know if they made a comeback, but they only made a certain amount. And
No.
Kinda. Did it work on the link I sent you?
Yeah.
I selected the link and it brought up the various different models of it. And
If you can type in the 1999 Isuzu VE Cross Black, that's
Okay.
exactly the one I had.
Okay.
I missed
I'll do that.
Sorry, guys. I'm washing cat bowls. Hold on. I'll mute myself.
Yeah, I see it. 1999 to 2000, 2001, Isuzu VE Cross. Okay.
Yep. And then on Suzuki tried to sell cars here, and that went crash burn.
Room.
And I lived in Atlanta, and people used to stop me, and talk to me at the gas station. Even Atlanta police were like, "We've never seen a car like this," and it was wow. I had some great memories in that little car.
I've got a 2002 Ford Thunderbird, red.
Wow.
And it's a two-seater. And one day I was driving this thing down the road on a city street, pull up to a stop-and-go light, and there's two young girls sitting on a bench waiting for the bus. This guy in a Corvette pulls up alongside me. Mr. Studley, and they're showing off he's got a Corvette. And one of the girls yells out, "That's a great car." And he's, "Oh, thank you." And the other one says, "We're not talking to you. We're talking to the guy in that red one." That car is capable of 150 miles an hour. Thank you kindly.
Yeah, and these had an '84 Thunderbird.
Thunderbirds, go.
I knew people that did.
Did you find it, Mike?
I think I found it. You can let me know.
We'll find out soon enough.
Yes, but just imagine it all black. That's the car I had. I loved that car. I mean, I missed that car. That was like, holy crap! And I bought it from my boss at the university, in Georgia, and I bought it from him because his daughters thought it was too old and retro looking, and she didn't like it. I'm like, excuse me, I'll take it.
Yeah.
How silly.
But yeah, and they didn't make many of those cars, but that's it. And it had a red deep blood red wine interior.
Yeah, you can even see a little bit of it here in the picture. Let me get rid of this window and I'll share the other window I opened and then I'll
Okay.
enlarge in it.
Go for it.
Alrighty. And now let's increase the image size.
Yeah, that's it. That's her.
I mean,
cool little ass car.
You're a single person? That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I told, and it was, you know, all black, and I would get noticed all around Atlanta. It was like, you know, like I said, I even had an Atlanta PD was like, whoa, can we look inside the car and the engine? And, you know, here I am just wanting to get gas. And I'm like, sure, we'll take a look. And
then he gets busted. He gets busted and does the.
What's this?
What's this? I don't know how that got there. Those aren't my pants.
actually, you know, the cops I met, it was a man and woman cop, and they just thought I was hilarious, and so I got their phone numbers, and we all became friends. So every time they work the fireworks at Lenox Mall in Buckhead, I would go be invited to sit in the front row VIP stuff, because I used to do TV commercial stuff for telepictures for all the news stations around the country, make sure the commercials ran, and became so much good friends with them. They used to follow me home to make sure I get home, or they drop me off. I was only a few blocks from the mall, but they used to like, you know, look out for me, and, you know, take me home if I had too much to drink or whatever. You know, they're like, we're working tonight. We'll come pick you up, take you home, and, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's another fond memory, was that car. Holy cramoly.
I got one. I'm driving my hot rod 51 Ford, full race engine. I've been drinking a little too much. I'm driving down the road, red lights. Oh, crap. Pull over. You've been drinking? Who, me? She practically got drunk when I opened up the door. Pulls me out of the car, throws me into the back seat of the squad car, and I'm yelling, you can't take that, you know, the whole routine. Drags me out there. You can't put me in jail, you blankety blank blank. Opens up the door, yanks me out of the back seat of the car, throws me on the ground, get back in, throws on the red lights and siren. I now become cognizant enough to realize I'm in my front yard. Everybody in the block, including mommy and daddy. That was worse than the jail.
Yeah, these cops were real. They became real friends, and one of them, she became really very good friends, and you know, you know, and then I got into the police stuff, and, you know, like, we collect stuff too, and then I found out they were nerds, you know, and she loved Xena, and he was a big X-Men, you know, Marvel DC guy, and he was collecting all these stuff, and, you know, who would think, you know, from a funky little car, you'd end up making friends that happen to be nerds, you know.
You never know how we're going to be brought together. You know, how friendships are going to start.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's just, wow. It's just so many. And then that makes me think of the time I got woken up. I lived in I call it the Hollywood suite, because I had 5 Juliet balconies. It was the corner of a building in Buckhead in Atlanta. And at night, the lights would shine up like it was a Hollywood marquee. And I go to bed and I get woken, and, you know, it wouldn't be unusual to have TV shows or music videos either filmed outside our building or inside where our pool was. And one week, they filmed a music video, so we're up to 3:00 in the morning, because you couldn't sleep. I mean, the music was, you know, they warned us, And, so finally at 3:00, they stopped filming their music video. And I'm like, okay, we can go to bed. So we wake up at 11 or 12 from hearing somebody yell, action, cut. And I'm like, my bed was about as high as the window in the corner. So I could just roll and look out the window. And I roll and look out the window. Thank God I had clothes on. But there was a director on a crane yelling, cut and stop. So I opened my window and I'm like, shut the F up. I'm trying to sleep. What in the hell? And who are you? So who is it? It's one of the producers, directors of the TV show Vampire Diaries. And he says, we're from the Vampire Diaries. I said, I don't really give a S where you're from or who you're filming from. I'm trying to damn sleep. He said, well, if you get through being grouchy, we will use you in an extra because you make a good, mean-looking man. And I was like, well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, talk about, being the casting director as well, going, hey, we got our angry man.
But can you imagine, you're rolling out towards the, your bed's real close to the window and you're rolling up and you see this crane looking thing with this huge camera on it. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Are you sure you're filming the right way? Not that we didn't have a prostitute that lived next door to us. And boy, she made a lot of money, But I was like, if you really want to film something, film next door because, her next appointment's probably, 11, 12? It's probably in the next hour.
If it's not there already.
Yeah, you can film there because one day I asked her, I was like, Shantae, who visits you all the time? I said, I can hear that door knock and I can hear some, knocking on our bedroom walls were together. And I'm like, could you move your bed when you're having sex away from the wall? I don't mind hearing the, I said, if you want to have that wild, at least invite me, over for the party, She said, oh yeah, G, we'll do that, G. They used to call me G. And I was like, what do you do for a living? Because you have all these, like, Hollywood looking men come in and out of your and out of your door. She said, I'm a prostitute. And I was like, what? She finally, I said 3 times, and she's like, I'm an effing prostitute, G. Got it? And I'm a highly paid one at that. So come on over, Friday night. I don't have any booked appointments, and I'll tell you all about my life. And then I had a neighbor. It was this couple, and they used to do porn, apparently. And I met them outside. I used to smoke those little cigar things.
Oh, yeah.
And in our apartment inside, the hallways, we had elevators that looked like a resort, and we had real hallways. So I used to sit out on the bench and smoke cigarillos. And Mr. Ford comes out, and he started smoking his stuff, cigarettes and stuff. And we became friends. And then when they invited me over for spaghetti dinner and gave me a tour of their apartment, I saw monitors in the corner of each room. And I'm like, what do you do? And her name was Giselle. And she said, G, we dress up and do movies. And I'm like, really? What kind of, I don't know why I said that. I was like, what kind of movies? Come here and look at my closet, baby. So we go and look at her closet. She had, taxi girl outfit, the Storm outfit from the X-Men movie. I mean, she had all kinds of stuff in there. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to know the title of y'all's movies. I don't want to see you guys. Even though you two are very, beautiful looking people, I don't, I know you as regular people. Let's just keep it that way. I don't want to know any of your titles.
Oh.
And we're still in contact today, believe it or not. But
you're mentioning your next door neighbors, and their, extracurricular activities. I can remember one summer, and it was back in '96, where some of my own neighbors were having some extra curricular activities, and I heard, and then my parents and I and my sister, well, did you hear last night? And I said to him, didn't you hear me? Because at one point they're, getting it on, and I'm hearing, oh, baby, baby, oh, baby,
Oh,
baby.
baby.
So, you know, I'm thinking, oh, come on. I'm trying to sleep. It was summer, yes, but school was starting early. So I had to be ready for school the next morning. And I'm all, oh, shut the hell up.
Oh my God, that was just like Chantel. Because I was like, I did. That's how we met. Because that bed frame was too close to the door, and I heard, "Oh baby, 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 oh baby, baby," and I'm like, "Oh my God, girl, move your bed about a foot away from the damn wall because I don't want it." Boop, 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 boop.
It was funny. I'm getting ready for school the next morning. My mom, she comes out of her bedroom, and all she says is, "Oh baby, baby, oh baby, baby."
As you all can tell, I've had an interesting life. I even worked at a record company, a major record label before, and boy, talk about seeing some stuff I didn't ever want to see. But Lord, there was this one time I was the one that they would come to and go, we're shooting a music video, and how much do we have, and how much more can we get, because we need to add this shot or whatever.
You were the money guy.
I was the money guy. So they're like, gee, you need to come in the limousine with us and onto video shoot so you can see why we need this extra money. Here, have this drink. Well, it was Hennessy, and I didn't know it, and I've never had it. Well, y'all, let me tell you, about 45 minutes into the video shoot, I look at the director, and I'm like, what's going on? He said, come here, watch. So he goes, and action. So I look, and I stopped them filming because I was like, what in the F is going on? This freaking car is upside down. And he goes, cut. And he goes, G, we're filming. Shut up. Be quiet. I said, that car is upside down. They're like, yeah, go around the camera and look. And it was on hydraulics, and it was actually supposed to be upside down. And they're like, did y'all give him Hennessy? And it was like, oh my God. And my friends from where we previously worked together ended up doing costumes for a group called Goody Mob and stuff like that. And I was there around the time that the singer Pebbles was going through a divorce.
Hi, John.
And but yeah, I've had an interesting life. I mean, it's just some of these people were just like, oh my God. I walk in the room and I'm like, oh, I'll come back later. Never mind. Come see me. You're running out of money. You better have a hit single soon. Do something.
Hail John Rendell Super Inch.
Yes.
Boy, I'm spilling all my stories tonight.
Nothing wrong with that. That's where you were.
That's when I was a kid. I was probably about 14 years old, 15. No, I was about 14. Anyhow, some buddies and I all went out to a nice farm that had a big pasture, and we camped out there. We put our tent up and all that stuff. Well, somewhere along the line, I'm just kind of walking along, taking a look at stuff there. I hear this noise. I go over there. I take a look. Here are two people really, really getting it on, really enthusiastically. And I mean, they're rolling all over the place. Well, the rest of the guys come up behind me. What's going on? They go, oh, holy criminy. They go, yeah. And I said, excuse me. When they turned around, they got all embarrassed. And I said, don't worry. You're going to be a lot more embarrassed when you tell the doctor how you got your poison ivy all over you. What? You're rolling around in poison ivy.
Oh,
And they
no.
really, big, huge patch of it. And that's where they, of all the places in the whole dang area, they picked that to go and have at it.
Poison ivy.
That's
Oh,
awful. Oh.
I mean, I tell you, I mean, you know, people are nuts. I mean, poison ivy. Oh my God. But now,
I think John.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I think John Reynolds needs to hop in here and tell us how he's making Steve Gutenberg a star.
Yeah, let's hear that.
The printing press guy? Oh wait, no, that's the other Gutenberg. I'm thinking about the printing press.
No, the different Gutenberg. He's keeping Martians under wraps also.
Good man.
So,
Good man.
DJ Ronnie G, do you have any interesting stories or fond memories you'd like to share with us?
Do I? Why do you? I said something before about how I had to edit something up real quick, and I think it's probably good that I had trouble getting the audio to go through, even though I did bleep out. Because I have, I like to keep a video library of fond memories and things that are amusing. And so, yeah, I whipped up a video. It's kind of questionable, but the way I see it, well, all is well that ends well. So basically, if you want to see something short, that my friend had a party during a Mets game or something like that, and this is like over 10 years ago, so it's past the statute of limitations, and an Easter bunny was harmed.
Uh-oh. Well, here comes Scott. Here comes some strikes against us.
What's up, Mr.
Here
Rendell?
comes PETA.
So this might actually cause you guys to receive a negative reflection upon me, but I am going to hide behind the cop-out that I was merely the cameraman, so therefore, camera people are never responsible. Like, when someone's getting mugged in the subway and someone videotapes it and it's like, what was the camera guy doing,
You were shooting the eye of life.
Yeah, there we go. So I mean, that's the prefacing here. So I'll just give you the quick version, so you don't have to sit through the entirety. So it's a 1 minute video, and I'm gonna shorten it up. So
I hope Bunny Mom doesn't come on.
She's
open on Pop Culture Breakdown.
Okay, so she's over there. So okay, you're safe. She and Gary Roger are over there. So.
There we go. Okay, so basically, this is my friend's friend from college, and this guy's approaching the bunny. But before they could approach the bunny, they had to check. Whoops, that's the big. They had to. So first, they send this guy here to check if anybody was watching. Then this guy goes up to the bunny with his implement, and you see the ears are up there, and he does his stupid act, and then he walks away. So okay, great, that happens. Then this guy's blowing up firecrackers for some reason, even though that's like really dumb. Like, you just did something stupid. You just did a crime. Well, not really. Anyway, we're not going to go over there. But you did something stupid. And then now they both go back for more. And I guess this is the part where I would have had audio, but I don't think I can count on audio coming out. Although I will give it a shot because, why not? Let's see here if we can get a little audio action here. I've been used to work and I have to do some stuff here. So let's see here. Okay, we got that audio track enabled, and this probably won't work, but we'll give it a shot. Okay, so he stabs Bunny, then he trips over because the guy goes, you know what? Get the bleep out of here. And then they run, I run, I play it back at like 10 times speed so that it goes. And then I'm going to upload this to a different platform than YouTube, because, I have a alternate place to put things like this. And basically now we're hiding in some driveway behind garbage cans for quite a few minutes. And this man, who is rightfully upset, okay, the homeowner is rightfully upset. This is like, vandalism. It is, and he's yelling, you messed with the wrong effing guy. And like, it is freaking scary. So, anyway, that audio track was pretty funny. Anyway, what's the conclusion? Well, I had to go to the wilderness to get back into my friend's backyard because I did not want to get near that man. And we basically were lucky that after he called the cops, we were able to come to an agreement where we'd give him $150 and he would kindly ask the cops to, go away. And So, we paid for that man's bunny, but it was stupid. It was. And, I was like barely 18. Was I 18? I was a little over 18. I'll admit I was maybe 21. Okay. But this is the degenerate activity that ensued. But it's a fond memory now, I don't recommend it at all. I really don't, because I wouldn't like it happening to me. I've had hooligans throwing bricks at my house before. It's no fun. This is a little bit less harmful, but it's still okay. I'm not going to justify it. It's effed up, but yeah. So that's the funny story. I wish I had audio to go with that.
So DJ Ronnie G, when the guy came out and started yelling and threatening you guys, did he say something like this?
I will send you to G.
He kind of did, but a little louder, a little more profanity laced.
And of course, it ended with him going into the Blair Witch Project, as you noticed.
Yes, it literally did. Like, there's actually quite a few minutes of footage of me like talking to the camera, like, "Oh man, this was stupid," And I'm like,
God.
Or was it more like this, DJ Ronnie G and Barrett? If you don't mind me playing the clip, I'll play it.
Go ahead. Play it.
All right. I think you know which clip I'm talking about.
Okay.
From the Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Do you see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
Quite like that, very much like that. The tone. He was basically saying all of these things, and he was saying, "You're out with the wrong man," and like the audio track is amazing. I'm tempted to find a way to like get that audio track out. Now let's see. Can I do that? Can I do that, Mike? Can I try to share a video file? Or do you think this is a bad idea because it has the bleeping? That's okay. I won't share it. It's cool. He's like, you know what? I may not have lined up the bleeping correctly. When you filter out profanity and it goes, "You bleep," and sometimes you're just off a little bit and it still clearly sounds like the actual word. But yeah, it was very much like that scene from The Big Lebowski.
Thanks for putting us to shame with visuals, DJ Ronnie G. You brought your game on your story.
I put you to shame with visuals. I put myself to shame for showing some degenerate activities. So I guess it's like it's a wash.
So what you're saying is, when you were younger, DJ, is you were a hooligan.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess you might be able to say that. Yeah. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah,
Was he a phantom hooligan?
Sometimes apparently not so phantom-like as in that story. That is not phantom hooliganry. If the guy comes out, which I'm kind of glad we got caught because we had the opportunity to pay for the man's bunny. You can't do that after the fact and feel bad and go. If you don't get caught, you can't go back after the fact and be like, "Hey man, we stabbed your bunny. Here's $100." Like, the guy might decide he does want to press charges or something, So it's a little tricky to. So that, like I said, that's why I said all is well that ends well.
Yeah.
But other than that, let me see if I have any funny, positive stories now instead of negative stories.
Remember, kids, don't do this at home.
Let's see. I knew a kid. He released 100 crickets in high school once, just because he thought it was a funny idea in freshman year of high school. I knew another kid. I literally not even talking about myself. It's not like asking. When people say asking for a friend. Well, let's say I have some footage where I knew kids. They would do like jackass footage, like Johnny Knoxville, and you know how escalators have those little slides in the middle, and now they put like little nubs on the slides so you can't slide down it. Well, in like the late 90s, early 2000s, they didn't do that yet, apparently. So I got footage of a kid doing that. But not really. This time it's not the asking for a friend thing. I really didn't do that one, but I thought it was good footage, so I copied it from a friend who had it. But okay, positive. We need positive here now. Oh, I didn't come here for anything really positive today, unfortunately. Although, let's see here. Wait, there's got to be something here, man. Oh yeah, my parents had a deal with a Chevy Vega back in the 70s. When you guys mentioned the Chevy Vega before, I thought that worked out too. Nobody got hurt. Did they call the trooper? I'm trying to remember. They either ditched the car or called the state trooper. I don't remember which one they did. I guess that makes a big difference, though. I think they called the state trooper on that one because, how do you get home? Are you going to call a cab in the middle of the 1970s? You can't get an Uber, right? My turtle jumped out of the tank a number of times. That was kind of fun, but not really a heavy story. It took me a couple hours to find her once. Turtles, they do a lot of funny antics, by the way. Like, I got videos of them, like, climbing in ways I can't, like, they're like security cam footage, but you'd be surprised what a turtle with its awkwardly shaped body can actually do in terms of climbing. And I had to separate them because, you know, one of them was biting the other one, and yet the one who is the victim was insisting on climbing to hang out with the one who is biting her, and sometimes they would be happy as clams, you know. Another time I have a video of my turtle trying to bite the power cord to their lamp, which scared the crap out of me because I don't want them to bite the power cord and get electrocuted.
No.
I had a turtle tank overfill on me once, and at the same time I had a faulty water heater. So I'm stepping in barefoot on the water, and I start feeling this electrical charge going up my arm. And like it was very distinct. Like, you know, it was just like I knew this was not just the, you know, feeling of cold water. This was like a sensation. You know it. You know, so ultimately, I grabbed rubber boots, ran to the circuit breaker. I was more concerned about the turtles, you know, like it's like I'm not dead, clearly. I'm getting electrocuted, but I'm not dead. But I'm worried about the turtles having electrical current going through their bodies. As it turns out, in aquariums, if you ever have an aquarium and you're worried, you can get a device, a thing called a ground probe, and it just, you know, grounds any short that may happen. And of course, you should have a GFCI outlet, so I made sure to get a better GFCI outlet after that, so that in theory it would shut itself off if that happened. But the problem with the ground probe is it makes it safer for your kids. So if your kid puts their hand in the tank, they don't get electrocuted, but the fish or the turtles can still die because now there's a path to ground. And the reason that the turtles don't normally, or fish don't normally get electrocuted if there's no ground probe is for the same reason that birds can hang out on power lines. You know, a bird on the wire is not grounded. So that's something I learned in, you know, the past like 5 years at least. Oh, and I remember now, yes, I was working at retail and a customer was coming to pick their computer up, and I was told their computer was no longer available, that it was thrown out because it was way past the abandonment. Because, you know, if you drop off your computer for repair and you don't pick it up after like over 90 days, there's a process where you mail out letters. You say, hey, you got to pick your stuff up, and eventually we're allowed to dispose of it. And there was a miscommunication between me and the secretary, and I thought that the computer was thrown out. So I told the lady the computer was thrown out, and she blew up on me, turned red. Luckily, the computer was not thrown out, and, you know, all is well. She apologized. I apologized. I was like, no, look, my mistake, you know, even if it wasn't my mistake, it's still like, you know, customer service here, you know, and I understood I'd be upset in her shoes too. Yeah, if I, you know what, you guys keep going with stories. If I have something really good and positive, I will raise my hand.
Okay, well, for that, we got to bring our next person in that's waiting in the green room. And, of course, we have to have the fanfare.
Anonymous. Anonymous. Anonymous.
I feel so.
That's a nice puppet show.
I mean,
a long time coming.
That's the first time I've done that one. And the first time I've done that one for you. So,
well, I'm glad I broke you in.
Yeah, you broke me in. I'm broke now.
What's up, Anono?
Well, I've managed to get out of bed and sit in my chair for a short period of time. So there's some good news. Sorry, go ahead.
Mike.
Mike's got two.
Yep.
Mike's doubled.
Got me in there twice, so I will fix that.
I'm not that doped. I'm seeing double of Mike.
Good personality.
He started drinking for New Year's already.
You don't want to see two of me. One of them is scary enough.
Yeah, really. Really. Oh yeah. Well, you know, I'm getting better. I'm walking around a little bit. Got my hot rod that I walk around with, and I'm able to sit in my chair here, lean back in just the right way, and I can take it for a little while, but not too long. So I won't be on here very long. So I just thought I'd drop in and say howdy to you guys and let you know I'm still alive.
Well, that's good
to have you here, brother.
We worry about you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got the flu or what?
No, I threw my back out right before Christmas.
No.
Yeah, I know it was a bad one. It was sometimes, you know, I can get over it in a few days or whatever, but I screwed up, and it was my fault, totally my fault. You know, I messed it up a little bit one day, and then the next day was our Christmas party thing, and I thought, oh, I want to be there for that, and I can handle it. So I took my pain meds and went to work, and about the time that the party was over, I was about to die. So I took home, and I've been in bed the whole time, the rest of the time. And that was over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I told you not to try to dig Phil's grave yet.
It's coming. It's very soon. Things have to be done in preparation. Oh, Phil. But yeah, I missed you guys. You know, I haven't been able to get on, and thought I'd come in and say, hey, I'm getting better. I'm walking around. I got my cane or walker. I'm an old freaking man. That's sorry, old man. But got my walker. Painted some flames on the side of it. And
I got
That's
a walker
the way you do
too.
it.
It's got
That's cool.
tennis balls on the bottom, and it's called the Drive.
there you go.
The one that folds open.
Yep. Oh, I need tennis. I got wheels on the front part. I need tennis balls on the back because it's scrapes up the floor pretty good.
You need some spinning hubcaps, and if I had a cane, I would name it Herman Cane.
Herman.
Oh.
And I was saying that joke before. I used to say that joke when he was alive. Okay, like it's like not like I'm making fun of Herman Cain. Like I really really like I have no problem with the guy. Actually, was it her? Yeah, it was it. I'm mixing him up. And Alan Keyes too. I wish Alan Keyes was president like 25 years ago. But I digress.
I'd name mine Kate.
I thought it was going to be the Kane Mutant.
I was just groaning because it was bad joke.
Hey, they can't all be the. They can't all be Tim's.
Most of them here usually aren't that good. That's the thing,
Well, that's good. So, what are we talking about, boys? What are we talking about here?
We are talking about interesting stories, fond memories. We were having trash talk earlier between Phil and Gap. Gap After Dark. So,
I missed it.
Yeah,
hey, it's worth a rewind. I'm telling you.
I bet. I still need to email that icon or the avatar to Paul so he can give it to me.
I'm just trying to figure out how long those two have been married. They were bickering so good.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, Phil's a million years old, so you never know.
But
the reason why
is I'm old enough to be Phil's father. Do not look at me. I had nothing to do with his mother.
But does he look like?
Should have pulled out.
No, Phil's actually younger than me. So, I mean, what does that make me?
But Phil sounds older than old man.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he blames it on his Italianness. We Italians age faster. Arr.
It's all the dope. Dope and booze, that's all it is.
Yeah, it really is worth a rewind. We got into it good. It's going to be a classic.
I might end up clipping that.
Yeah, it should be.
John, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm here.
I got a question.
Okay.
Have you ever been? Have you been to George Washington's Masonic Cave?
Not the cave, but I've been to the Masonic Memorial in Alexandria. That was fascinating.
They got a cave.
Fascinating indeed.
If you go in there, you can actually see his inscription carved right in there. Masonic symbols in there and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I've seen a few pictures, but never been there myself. I'd like to get there. But it's rather interesting. We went on a trip when I was with Lehighton Lodge, and we went down to the George Washington Masonic Memorial in Alexandria, and then the next day to Mount Vernon. And we took a trip down to Mount Vernon, and you go through the house and the grounds, and there's still a working farm there. And they managed to work in a free boat ride on the Potomac for us. Really fascinating stuff. But Masonic Memorial in Alexandria is just fascinating, and it's right across the street from the Amtrak station, which is nice. But you got to walk up a whole lot of stairs to get there. Easier to drive up. But you walk in, and there's this big rotunda with the frescoes of George Washington and various other people, laying cornerstones and various Masonic things. Big statue of George Washington. And it's just amazing. And then you go to the various floors on the elevator, and the building kind of, it's not straight up and down. It's kind of angled inward. And the elevators actually follow those angles rather than going straight up and down. And it's a little weird feeling on them. But again, really great artifacts in there. And, I got to actually put my hand on George Washington's field desk from the Revolution.
Nice.
A lot of great stuff in there. And I believe they have they have the death clock, which when George Washington died, his doctor cut the mechanism at exactly the moment he died. And so that clock has not been moved, the hands on it, in over 200 years. And a lot of really great stuff there. It's worth seeing even if you're not a Mason for the historical context. But beautifully done.
That's really cool.
Very nice.
Yeah. I don't know if I could handle all the stairs right now, at least.
I can do it. I promise.
Every year, the Knights Templar do an Easter sunrise service there. I want to get there one year. What they do is they line up in uniform and they ascend the staircase singing "Onward, Christian Soldiers." Now, you got to remember, a lot of these guys are in their 70s and 80s going up these stairs, singing at the same time. And I've never once seen an oxygen tank there. So it's like, wow, these guys got mastered.
Really know how to camouflage those tanks.
Yeah.
well, here I was going to say it was the Knights Templar. I thought you said every year they try to take Jerusalem back.
No comment. I kind of need you to.
They're too busy.
Ancient Freemason secret.
Yes.
Remember,
too busy guarding the Holy Grail.
For God knows his own.
But of course, for those who don't know, I was just installed as worshipful master of my lodge. I'm the fifth man in the history of my family to be master of that lodge. So,
wow,
I'm proud, and it's our 175th anniversary.
Congratulations!
Nice, man.
Thank you. That made a really nice video for me about it in about an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. That was pretty sweet. He's great.
Oh, Fez, you said? I mean, Fet?
Fet, yeah.
Oh, I got to go over there and take a look at that.
Oh, it's on his channel. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And with only, less than an hour he took to make the thing, that worked out beautifully. I was so impressed. And then Gary called me right after that, Gary Ambrosia. That's like 2 o'clock in the morning here. But that was awesome. But I got some really good friends. I'm pretty proud of that. So.
You've got some good friends in me.
Oh, I got something to show you.
Hey, before he does that, guys, I've been sitting too long, and the old back is screaming at me. So I'm going to take off and go lay in my tomb for a while.
Okay, you take it easy.
Take it easy, Anonymous.
I will, and hopefully before work starts again, because we're off for a while. But hopefully that I'll be back up and running, and everything will be back to normal. And I will see you guys as soon as I possibly can. I have a good New Year, or Happy New Year, and here's hoping 2023 is just slightly better than 2022.
Oh, I hope so.
All right, guys. Love you.
Big time.
Later.
Better
Take
too.
care,
Take care, man. Love you too, man.
My man.
So, Baron, what is it?
Let me get a better look at it here.
There's one end. There's the other end. You've seen what it goes to, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's
Any ideas?
I'm ashamed to say I'm having a block on it. It's not. What is it? To it doesn't have to do with copplers. I know that much.
Nope.
Oh, Jiminy crickets!
What's the opposite of push?
Pole.
What's the opposite of woman?
Man. Pullman.
Close. You're in the right church, but what do it do in the Pullman?
Twist it.
Not for the bill. No.
Clearly, that is a spark plug puller.
That's not to go to sanctuary.
Worth a try.
That doesn't open up a sanctuary, where the sacraments are kept, is it?
No. This opens up the berth in a Pullman sleeping car.
Oh, Pullman. Okay. Oh, yes.
That end opens up the berth to fold it down in your compartment, and that end opens up the doors and cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lose it, you kind of screwed it.
Yep. And it's one of a very few of those still existing. There's a guy restoring, or a group restoring a Pullman car that's looking for one of those. So I got to find them and negotiate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's been in the family for some time. I believe that came off the Lehigh Valley Railroad.
I'm surprised people aren't trying to make, engineer their own,
Oh, some do. But it's better when you have the real thing with the real specs.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
So there's that. And, yeah. And, of course, you've seen these.
Excuse me.
Lost like the key. Key. Are you the key master?
Well, I am a locksmith.
Oh, wow.
You see these all over the place.
Yeah.
Old railroad locks.
Mm-hmm.
Notice the keyway isn't a keyway.
No.
Big old circle. That is the key. And all it is basically is a bolt with a triangular head onto it. And you just untwist that.
Yep.
Comes unlocked. And you used to find these on switch boxes and MOW sheds and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cheap and easy way to do it from Rackham was the manufacturer.
Very cool.
Yeah, I remember seeing those in action.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few places where they still use them. But
Marty, what's that?
Ooh, red globe.
Yep.
That looks like an Ad Lake lantern. I would say a caboose. It's got the taller globe.
And
wow.
That is
cool. Does it say Ad Lake on the top?
1800s.
What's that?
It's from the 1800s.
Yeah, very nice.
It was my grandfather's.
Oh, awesome.
Father, and then to me.
Beautiful.
Does that run on oil or kerosene?
Yeah, it's a kerosene.
Yeah.
You got a complex way of filling this thing up.
I can imagine.
But here's your adjustment screw right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. and you can still get wicks for those.
Hey, old man.
It's a genuine bead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, old man. You know, when the pulse comes, we might have to come to your house. You'll have the only light.
You'd be amazed at what we can do for light.
Oh yeah.
I have flint and steel, and you have to know how to use it.
Yeah.
I have char cloth to work to get it going, because it works better than using little tinder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I also know how to make char cloth.
Awesome.
I'm
And of course, a neat source of tinder is a pencil sharpener.
Oh yeah.
You get the wood off the pencil, works great.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to.
But it's a little hard to find a pencil sharpener in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. Well.
I'm starting to.
I'm in the middle of the woods.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Got
Mine's
that at an antique
wall in
store.
the back. Out in the back room there, I got mine fixed right to the wall.
Yeah.
That way I don't have to go looking for it, because it's always there.
Yeah, I keep mine on a little piece of wood that I put in the vise. Works beautifully.
Oh yeah.
And then it's out of the way.
That's what's important.
Well, where I got on the wall, it's perfectly out of the way.
Yep.
Just a wonderful, marvelous little thing.
Yeah. And they bring back old memories.
People
for
use
me.
pencils?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're extremely handy to have a pencil. You know, when our astronauts were looking for a pen that would work in outer space, the Russians came up with a solution of using a pencil.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, you know, plus they're good for, cleaning your ears out. Things like but you can't use the eraser after that.
Even the Russians, the pencil worked, but it gave them some problems and difficulties in what they were doing. And that's, remember when Fisher came out with the space pen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've got one.
Yeah, it's like a pressurized oil.
Hmm?
The pen is under pressure and it uses some kind of oil-based ink.
Yeah.
If I remember right, yeah.
Yeah, those are great. You can write upside down with them. Like if you ever try to write, I take it for granted that you can write with a ballpoint pen, and then one day you're writing on the bottom of something and it starts running out of steam. Yeah, and that's when I realized I might need to get me a Fisher space pen.
Well, one thing that we always used to see way back before the Fisher, you'd be writing it, run out of ink, and you hold like this, shake like hell, and then go back up again.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the old fountain pens that had the little lever on the side that you suck the ink up in them. And then you see them in the movies. You hit the button and it squirts ink at people.
Yeah.
I got to get one of those.
I got a couple of green ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're green in color.
Yeah. That's neat. There's a couple of YouTube channels that specialize in those pens. And they're actually doing reviews and showing old antiques. It's really good.
The thing is with them that I always had problems with way back. I'm left-handed.
Welcome to my world.
And I write broken wristed.
Mm-hmm.
So I always bend the nubs around and have to rebend them to make them work.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, the end of the fountain pen, you got these two little deals, and they're called nubs. And you can actually replace them. The fun of the old days.
It isn't the cough that carries you off, it's the coffin they carry you off in.
That's true.
I picked up a fountainhead pen a few years back because I thought it would be so cool, but then I came to understand why, people try not to use them. I mean, like it would dry out if you didn't use it. You know, you'd have to always have the bottle. You got to be careful not to spill the bottle. And maybe I just didn't know what I was doing, but I kind of like, it was fun once in a while, you know, but not something to use, and not really something to use every day. And I used to use it at work, so if I handed the Fountainhead to a customer, forget it. Like they might press too hard on it or something, you know. And I can't blame them because this is just some bizarre pen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get either nothing or you get smudgy stains.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you're right broken wristed to keep from dragging your hand through the ink.
Yep.
Yep.
That's why they should have taught us to write from right to left.
Well, it's really kind of crazy because I'm also dyslexic. And as a consequence, when I finally taught myself how to read, I can read upside down and backwards.
Awesome.
Now, my mom, she was left-handed, but she was also ambidextrous. And she used to drive insane and win all kinds of money.
Yeah.
She'd put 2 pieces of paper down. She'd pick up 2 pens, and she would start writing with the right hand going this way, the conventional way. With her left hand, she would write mirror image of the same thing.
That's pretty awesome. I'm somewhat ambidextrous because I write and I eat left-handed, but I play guitar right-handed. And most everything.
Jimi Hendrix would be mad at you.
Huh?
Jimi Hendrix would be mad at you.
Yeah.
Or McCartney.
Yeah.
Does it make me ambidextrous if writing with my left hand doesn't look much worse than my right hand?
Close enough. It's trait, yeah. Now, of course, my handwriting, believe me, I make doctors look good.
That's something else we got in common.
Horrible handwriting.
Yeah. Could be worse.
The only thing my handwriting
that I can remember
is when I'm writing in Runic. When I'm writing in Runic or Fruthar.
Right.
The old Viking handwriting that was used all through Europe.
Yeah.
At one time, Runic was more common around the world than Roman alphabet.
Yeah.
I got somebody I'm in contact with that's Hungarian, and they're bragging to me about all this runic writing that they got all over the place.
Neat.
You better believe it.
Hey guys, I gotta get going. But
Okay.
I want to thank Mike and Baron, and nice to see everyone again. And this stream made my night. Thank you for having me.
Glad to hear that.
Anytime,
Thanks
Gab.
for coming.
Good to see you, Gab.
All right, y'all have a good New Year's.
You too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, real quick, before you go, if you're available Saturday night, I'm going to have the stream at 11 p.m. Eastern to ring in the new year, if you're available.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Mike. All right, guys.
Welcome.
See you soon.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Gap.
Bye.
What do you have? Was it a spaceship?
Oh, yeah, I was just playing my my Omega class destroyer from Babylon 5, and what I like to do is pretend that the gravity section is spinning too fast and everyone's getting killed by G-forces. Ah!
How can you do that to John Sheridan?
I can't do a John Sheridan. I really can't. I tried. But I mean, I can't do an impersonation. But no, John Sheridan, he was actually flying a Star Fury at the time because, you know, he's one of those captains who violates regulations.
Mm-hmm. So that's the Agamemnon.
Yeah, actually it is. I think, yeah, this is the Aggie. That's what it said when I downloaded it. It don't have a big letter A on it. You know what's really cool though? The site where I downloaded this from, they sell a much larger version, like a humongous one where you have to print it out in sections. And so like each of these, for example, you have like a large flat rectangular panel, you know, that's this big, and you have different pieces, and you literally screw it and bolt it together. And when it's done, it's like a meter long. And one of these days I want to print it, but let's be real, like it's huge. You got to store it. And number two, it would be a lengthy 3D print. I mean, 3D printers don't take 5 minutes to print. It's not like inkjet printing. It's like,
a while.
You know, you take 12 hours here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Is
you
that
know,
in
but that's,
plastic or aluminum?
oh my goodness. So actually people did figure out how to do metallic stuff. If you print a mold, there is a way to, I mean, there's a way to print a mold and then pour molten metal in it, although that's a little bit out of my league.
Yeah,
I know there is an aluminum 3D, and it costs a bit of money, but it's out there.
And they're getting better. Look, they got like different processes. They had industrial ones for a little longer, and some of them will use like almost like a dust where it uses a laser to pretty much melt the particles together. They're coming a little more commonplace. One interesting development is off 3D printers where you can swap out the nozzle or the head and replace it with something comparable to a CNC. It's not as good as like a big CNC, but it will, you know, whittle away at metal or wood or solid objects. And the other type would be, what was it? But they do have it. It's still like, even if you at entry level, you're going to be spending a good amount of coin on a proper metallic 3D printer.
Around 20 grand or more.
Easily, yeah. You know, there might be like somewhere some niche product in between that does a poor job that's cheaper. But then another weird thing I found out, even if you could obtain like, for example, the resin of 3D printers and some of the metallic 3D printers, you have to have ventilation because they will emit something that you don't want to breathe in. As is, you know, the case with the resins for sure. Like a lot of people just operate a resin printer thinking nothing of it, but anyone who's done fiberglass work knows you don't do that indoors, and you're literally working with the same chemicals when you do it indoors. So you might hook a dryer vent up to your window and just pull the air out that way, something like that. That's why I wanted to get a resin printer, to be honest, because, you know, they have a smaller print area. You pay more, or you pay the same amount to get like less printing area, but I feel they appear to be more reliable and easier to operate. Oh, depending, easy to operate minus that, but hopefully in the coming years we'll see more in the way of I don't know, DIY metal 3D printing or injection molding. Otherwise, like I said, there are videos out there where people show you how to make a cast. Essentially, you 3D print a mold, then you put plaster around the mold, and then you pour the metal into the plaster because, of course, you know, you can't really pour. There's actually a few methods I saw. So there are ways to do it. Yeah, there are some ways, roundabout ways to do something similar. And then the other issue is, well, what alloy are you using, you know? So once again, like that's something that I figured I might look into one day as a I don't know, a vacation project or something.
Yeah.
Don't forget the shrink factor.
Oh yes, absolutely. You know, that's actually another thing. That's another reason why I wouldn't just jump into it willy nilly, because you're absolutely right. That is, you know, the shrink factor will affect it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to break in here like this, but we've been on for almost 3.5 hours. Believe it or not, time is fun when you're having flies.
You bet we are having fun.
Can I tell one story real quick before you conclude?
One
It's a good one. It's a positive story, and so let's see. How do I switch my screen here? Oh, there we go. Good, I got it. Okay, so when I was in 7th grade, I think it was 7th grade, I went to a school called IS-51, named after a gentleman named Edwin Markham, and the teacher said, write a story about some recent current events. And, you know, the Monica Lewinsky scandal was in the news at the time. So I titled it, I did the, you know, Word 1997 Microsoft Word or Word Perfect Word Art. So that's how you got those cool 3D letters. And I don't know, somehow it just got past my parents. And even the principal of the school saw this and laughed and didn't think anything else of it. So it's called Monica Lewinsky and in the Oral Perjury Scandal. And basically, it's like in the year 1997, Monica Lewinsky was involved with a scandal of having a sexual relationship with our president, William Jefferson Clinton in the Oval Office.
Hold on there, DJ. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yeah.
Mr. Whiskey. And I think I did. Yeah, I literally have that quote right there. So, Bill Clinton was asked in the court of law if he had relations with Monica, and he answered straight to their faces, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." Ms. Lewinsky, granted that was on the news, not in the court of law, so I must have embellished a bit. And then I go, that was a lie. Bob Dole would have never did that. He has a wife that is true to him. The only issue with Bob is that he had ED because of prostate. Okay, that was messed up, but I was dumb. Now, back to Monica. She finally chose to tell the truth and said told the truth and said her and Bill had done oral intercourse in the Oval Office on more than one occasion. But Billy still didn't give it up. He kept lying. There was even proof. Monica is dressed. Now Monica is chubby. She has. I gave this to a teacher. She was under Bill's desk when he was talking on the phone. Now, for all of you saying, why should we have a right to know about our president's sex life? It is the Oval Office, the most sacred room in this country, politically speaking. It is where commands are handed down, where history is made. At the moment, this country is a joke with Bill Clinton about Canada, Japan, and all of the European countries must be laughing at us by Ron Maglio. And so I hand this in, and whoops, wrong camera. And the teacher is like, she's like, what the heck is this? She's like really upset. And I'm like, oh, no, it's cool. The principal saw it. He was cool. Like, no, boy. She's like, BS. She didn't say BS, but she's like, no, wait, really? The principal saw it? But she was like livid. She was really uptight about this, So she goes to the principal. She writes a letter to my parents, or calls them on the phone, leaves a funny message on the answering machine. And all is well that ends well because, I didn't have a next year and I didn't fail the class, but that is the funny, positive story I wanted to share.
And Bill Clinton was impeached not for Monica Lewinsky's sex thing. He lied under oath.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody in the world in the press wanted to say that. It's all about sex. Well, I ended up getting it garbage over this.
I don't want to break, but that was going to be the last story for tonight because we're gonna button it up for tonight. But I want to thank. Oh, hey, one moment, but we do have one straggler that came walking in here.
Hey guys.
Hey Paul, how you doing?
Hey Paul.
So funny thing, I was tired from work today, so I thought I'd go to bed early, only to find out I can't sleep.
Oh, Mr. Insomniac. Oh my!
Welcome to my world.
We came over here to get bored to death so you could go to sleep.
Maybe that's it.
No, if anything, I decided to make use of my time and at least come on and say hey to you guys, and then work on a certain secret plans that we have in store, right, Baron and Mike?
Ooh. I know nothing. Colonel Hogan. I know nothing, Master Paul. I know nothing.
Of course.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Is this like secret?
What? It's all right. I'm talking about either.
I know nothing. But yeah, we're just wrapping it up here, Master Paul. So you picked the perfect time to come in. But I do want to thank, of course, people that were on a panel before. We did have Mr. McCracken. With us, Phil McCracken. We had Anna Moss. We had Brian, the Norporeal Life Form, or whatever the heck he's calling himself this week. We had, of course, let's see.
We had
Gap After Dark.
Gap. Whoopa was here.
Whoopa Trooper was here. Yep. Yeah. And of course, we have the distinguished John Fezerendo, his most worshipful Grand Poobah. DJ Ronnie G, the old man, Master Paul straggling in. Of course, everybody that was in the Jet Sparks. We can't forget Jet Sparks.
Yes.
He was also
don't forget him.
Yep. So
great.
Awesome. So that, and of course, everybody that was in the chat, we thank you for putting up with us for 3.5 hours of insanity.
Well, but we did have a fight break out between Gap and Phil.
Oh.
Not literally, but figuratively.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, that's a choice one. You got to see it.
Yeah.
Watch the
They're an
beginning,
old
Paul.
married couple. They're the old married couple, that's for sure.
Oh.
You're the playback.
Yep. So,
And then
anything
the
else you want to
turn into a giant roast?
anything you wish to say, Mr. Mike?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being here with us on this simulcast on both Baron Orman Tag's Fandomology and PACIFIC414. This was something that we wanted to work on, and we started it last week with A Christmas Carol, and we moved it on to this week with this particular topic of discussion. I know there's going to be more in the future, and I do want to say that there will not be a Sunday edition of Pop Talk this Sunday because I have this crazy idea percolating in my head about going live at 11 p.m. Eastern time going into the new year, so I can't promise I'd be up in time.
I kind of figured that.
And of course, Wednesday's Pop Talk, I'll definitely have to talk to a few people, see if they want to come on for Wednesday's Pop Talk, the first of the year. But just as a reminder, starting with the first of the year, Pop Talk is moving to...
Sparks, you're right. Sorry.
Pop Talk is moving to 2 open panels per month. One on a Sunday, one on a Wednesday. And in 2023, I want to improve as a content creator. That's the goal. It's not something that's
as good as it is.
It's not something that I feel I need to rush into doing certain things all at once. I want to work on it gradually as the year goes along. But the goal is to bring better content. Mainly live streams, some videos, but mainly live streams. So that's what's coming up here very soon for the PACIFIC414 channel. Baron, I know you're working on a few things for Baron Orman Tag's Fandomology.
Yep, just kind of keeping some of the stuff the same. Where I do the After Dark, but it might be a different time, different day. But I like keeping that where talking to people, YouTubers and other content creators and such that and not basically talk about the pulp stuff or the stuff we generally talk about, but just other things, interests and likes and what people got people going and such like that. So get that going. And I'm going to start ramping up some of my other videos too, starting next year. So, and then we'll see what we go from there.
And just as a reminder, as I said before, I am going to be experimenting with different start times for both the Wednesday show and the Sunday show. In order to find out what time I'm going to do it, just stay tuned and look at my social media posts and also in my Discord. I will definitely let you all know there what time one edition of Pop Talk will be one day, and then the other edition of Pop Talk will be the other day.
Cool.
Sounds fantastic.
And since Phil's asking for it in DMs, I think I'm about to start a Skyrim stream because I got nothing better to do.
What did I tell you, Mike? What did I tell you?
He would be back. He would be back.
I'll be back.
Just keep in mind, I literally just got out of bed from trying to sleep, so forgive me, Phil, if you're listening, for my bed, as you like to put it, not being up to military standards.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I think Phil ran ahead.
Phil, you're an enabler.
He's an enabler, very much so. So, just want to sit back and thank everybody for joining us. Oh, he never left. Yeah. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And, of course, if we don't get a chance to, have a happy New Year. And, of course, catch Mike's New Year's Eve celebration. Trust me, it's going to be a lot better than what the networks are going to be doing. I know that.
Oh, and do me a favor. Check out Comic Relief Crusader. He's coming back. He's got a lot of good plans. Things are going well for him. So keep an eye out.
Nice.
Good.
I'm
Fantastic
definitely
to
looking
hear.
forward to seeing Mike come back.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
And check out his live stream from last night.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Definitely have
surprised
to
I
do
didn't
that.
get a notification about it, but YouTube being YouTube, they
Yeah,
probably unsubbed me from, so I'll have to double check.
Yeah, it was a short one, but he gives you a good idea where he's going. And
Good.
sounds
Good.
like some really good things happening.
Fantastic.
Nice. He deserves it, especially after
Yeah.
the rough year he had this year.
I
Yeah.
got screwed over, definitely. Okay. Well, I'll let you do the honors, Mike, since you have know which ones to hit for calling us out. And everybody,
Well,
thank you so much.
it's got to be just one of the regular Pop Talk ones, if you're okay, with
well,
that.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I see that there. Yeah.
I will
don't-
definitely get to working on a combined one when we do these combined shows. And
Yeah. I'm not that egotistical.
Oh, thank you, everybody, for being here with us, watching, telling your stories. And Jet, I do apologize that you weren't able to tell a story, but there will be more of these in the future.
Oh, yeah.
And don't feel
Is that
bad
the only
that I
thing?
didn't, Jet Sparks, I didn't tell a story either, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
you
your
did. You
fault.
told a story. You couldn't sleep. You're up, and now your
Here we
enablers
go.
asking
Yeah.
for Skyrim.
Yep. Here we go.
I'm
Story
kidding
of my
with you,
life.
Paul. I'm kidding with
There we
you,
go.
Paul.
I know.
But
I'm not.
thank you, everybody. Have yourself a great night, and we will see you all later.
Happy New Year.
Well, I think that went well, don't you?
I thought it went well myself.
Yeah.
Are we here?
Please like, share, and comment. Wow. Okay, I got a comment for you. Got a comment right here. You see this comment? You see this? Oh no, you don't, because you got this thing.
No. I bet you got a comment from me.
I had a comment.